So I'm starting the Ultimate Football Manager Challenge, the Pentagon. The Pentagon Challenge is simple. In one single save game, you must win all 5 of the major continental club competitions from around the world. The world's 5 Champions Leagues, if you like. You have Asia, Africa, North America, South America, and of course, Europe. Oh, and you must start unemployed with no coaching badges or any experience at all. It feels like a true Football Manager rite of passage, so let's begin. Okay, so this is day 1 of the Pentagon Challenge. What have I got myself in for? It felt like the right time to do this. This is Clayts. You will see that he is currently unemployed and my reputation is minimal and I have the experience of a Sunday League footballer. I also don't have any coaching badges. To make this as hard as possible, we also, of course, have attribute masking on. And obviously, I can't use the in-game editor. Today, we begin a new adventure. After the youth-only save, it felt like the logical next step. We're going all around the world, and it begins... Well, who knows where it begins? First and foremost, we need to go and find ourselves a job. Now, to start with, I've loaded in the African leagues, which is actually only the South African leagues in the base game. And I've also loaded in all of the leagues from Asia. So you can see we've got teams from China, from South Africa, from Korea, from Japan, Malaysia, Hong Kong. I'm going to go and try and find any of these teams to begin with. I will start happily either in Asia or in Africa because that kind of makes sense with where our reputation is. You will start in these leagues, try and win one of those 2 Champions Leagues, and then when our reputation's built up, move our way over to perhaps North America, then South America, and probably finally Europe, where we need to go and win the UEFA Champions League. Right now, though, I'm going to go on a job application spree because there are currently all of these jobs available, but I don't know if any of them are going to take some random Sunday League footballer from Hereford. Let's go find out. Okay, so I've got a couple of interviews straight away. They are from DG United in China. Now, they're actually in the top division in China as far as I can tell. However, they're not doing great. They're bottom after 12. They've lost all 12 of their games so far. Minus 30 goal difference, which that's not great for a 16 league season. So there's another 18 games to go there. And then I'm probably going to get relegated. And then will I get sacked if I get relegated there? Anyway, that's the first club that have offered me an interview, which I'll go and do now. I've also been offered an interview at Southern District in Hong Kong, which is a league that hasn't kicked off yet. Now, I did check as well. This is a league that does offer qualification for the AFC Champions League, the Asian Champions League. Like if you finish in the top 4, you go into the qualifying rounds. If you win the league, you do actually go straight, or come second actually, you go straight into the Asian Champions League group stage. So weirdly, I'm kind of leaning towards Southern District as a preference here. Now, I might not get either of these. Where are they predicted to finish? They're actually predicted 5th as well. That's not the worst, is it? I'll do both interviews. I probably won't get either of them. And hopefully I'll get some more interviews as well. But opportunity knocks potentially. Let's do this first interview together. It's great to be here. Let's get started. How would you overcome the relatively big obstacle of not speaking the language? Yeah, that's it's quite nice of them to do it in English, actually, isn't it? Wong Chuk Tim, thank you very much for that. I would say it's a relatively easy. I'd like to think I get on well with other languages and could learn pretty quickly. I'll go with that. Let's say, can you explain why you appear to be in the running for a few jobs right now? I'm desperate is the real answer. I'll say I'm merely considering my options. We parted company with the last manager much sooner. Can you offer assurances that we won't be in for a repeat of that? Yes. I've made a promise there. Now, I don't think you should ever really make too many promises, except for the director of football, which I feel like you have to in these interviews. But I've gone for it. As part of the recruitment process, we're willing to allow changes. I don't need any changes. That's fine. All seems fine. I will exceed expectations. I agree to the transfer budget and I agree to the wage budget as well. No extra demands. Let's see if I can get myself that job. I'm going to go and do the other interview now, and I'll be back once I've hopefully done a few more as well. And hopefully I'll be back with news of our first job. Okay, I've got a job. It is actually quite a big job. I feel like we've done very well with this. I did like a load of interviews and got offered quite a few jobs actually, and delayed them because I was waiting for one that felt right, and then we've been offered Guangzhou FC in China. Now, these were a big team at one point. They're now in the 2nd division in China, and I think that presents an opportunity. Their reputation was higher than the other clubs we were looking at. They've got a 2.5-star reputation. Media prediction of 8th. We're going to be joining. They're actually extending their stadium. Look, we've not been given much of a budget. In fact, 0 transfer budget and basically, I think it's £400 in wages. But Guangzhou FC will be our first team in our Pentagon Challenge. Now, hopefully, we can take this team to go and win the Asian Champions League. If that doesn't happen, alternatively, there is also the option, of course, to do quite well with them and get a bigger job in Asia and then take that team to the Asian Champions League. But it would be nice to do it at one team, wouldn't it? This is the situation then that we took ourselves into. We've actually just been given our youth intake as well. If I show you, I was offered interviews and jobs at Iron Brew Rangers, which is just a fantastic name, Hong Kong Rangers FC. I was offered a interview, or offered the job at Black Leopards in South Africa. So we could have started in Africa instead of Asia. They're in the second division in South Africa. But the big thing for me was that these had a 2-star reputation. It was the other best one. Whereas Guangzhou have a 2.5-star reputation. They've had some really big ex-players, of course, haven't they? I think it was Paulinho, there he is, look, who used to play for Guangzhou at one point. They've fallen off a lot. They're in the second division. We are joining them halfway through their season as well, as they are just above the relegation zone. If they were in the relegation zone, like DG United, I probably would have said no, but they are just above. They're not looking likely to get relegated. But if I can put a few wins together, I see no reason why we can't actually climb this table, because even though we're down in 13th, we are only 12 points off top. Now, am I being ridiculous to think that we can still get promoted here? Probably. But why not aim for it? Because in what? How many games have we got here? 16 games? In 16 games, can you make up 12 points? I think you can. So let's go and have a look at which players we inherit and set this team up, because we're midway through a season. It's time to get right into it, basically. Okay, so I've just done a very generic 4-2-3-1 that I use in a fair few saves. I'm going to pick the best 11 and kind of see what we're working with here. I don't know. I wonder what they used in the last game. Can I see what tactic they used? I mean, what a game. 2 red cards and a 0-0 draw. Guangzhou, away from home, played a 4-3-3. Wang Pengda and what did you do? One Junji. Did you how did you get a 5.9 playing on this right midfield here? So they did have fullbacks. I was looking at the defenders thinking, did they not? I mean, Wan Likai is apparently the best left back, but is quite bad, actually. Maybe this is just a really... I mean, that's not a big squad, is it? Maybe if I put the under-21s and the under-19s, would we get a different team? Would they change some of the players? No, we've got a few players that make the bench out on loan there. A right back who would start that's out on loan currently at Haik Min Cheng. So, okay, interesting. Let's maybe just remove those guys again. Let's clear these. Our best player, according to this, by far is Wang Pengda. Wasn't he the one who got sent off? He is very good compared to the rest of the players. Right now, I suppose I can't really do much in terms of transfers. So I guess I'll go and get into a few of these games and come back and let you know how I do. And I'll also work out when our transfer window opens and whether we can do it. Okay, we've got a negative wage budget. This is going to be tough, but I'll see you in a couple of months where hopefully I've bedded in. Oh, by the way, I'm going to jump in really quickly now and say, please subscribe to the channel. At this point, as I record this now, we are super close to 100,000 subscribers. And that is just an outrageous milestone that I'm going to be so delighted to actually get to. So you guys can help with that by subscribing today as we begin this ridiculous new adventure. I'm very excited for it. Please subscribe. Come on. Okay, so I've made a start here then at Guangzhou, and it's going quite well. We're 9th in the league, so it's not ridiculous, but it's pretty good. After now 28 games, I've made it through to October. Now, I've chosen to come back in October because we've just got our youth intake. So we're going to have a look at that in a second. But before that, these have been our results since I've taken over. So I took over in July. It was during this transfer window. Our first game was, in fact, this FA Cup game where we beat Zhejiang from the league above 2-1. We then backed it up. We played the bottom of the league team. It was actually the perfect start to our career. We played DG United. If you remember them, they were the team that were rock bottom. They've actually won 2 games since then, but when we played them, they'd won 0 games. And we actually applied for a job with them, didn't we? But ultimately, I think we've made the right choice. Guangzhou now are up to 43 points, so we're going to be a mid-table team at the very worst here, I would suggest. Although I am still sort of aiming. We've got 4 games to go, sort of aiming. Can we catch? Probably not, to be honest. Maybe we can catch Jiangxi Beddermen, who are just above us, but it's going to be a 9th or an 8th place finish, probably. These are the 2 games. We actually play DG United in the final game of the season, so it'd be nice to be able to beat them, but at this stage, it's all about just trying to consolidate ourselves in this league and going again next year when hopefully we've got a team of our own players. Now, we are going to have to rebuild this team. If I show you the tactics screen here, one thing you'll notice is that a whole host of our players are opting to leave their contracts or consider their options at the end of their contracts. And a few of them expire at the end of this season and quite a lot of them expire at the end of next season, which the end of the season, I believe it then is in December. At least that's when the contracts expire, look, is in December. We finish our season at the end of October, which tells me maybe that's when the Champions League takes place. I'm going to have to get to know these competitions as we play in them, but that's sort of what I'm in this for. I want to just go and try new things in Football Manager, and playing and managing in the Chinese second division feels like a little bit of that. So if you've got experience in this, a bit like the youth only save, I want to hear from you. What tips would you be giving me for a save like this one? One thing that I did do is I set up my manager I put most of my points for attributes into adaptability, so that hopefully we can go and pick up new languages and adapt to new places around the world. I have also been asking pretty consistently to go on a coaching course, which they keep rejecting, but I feel like that's pretty important to try and get our coaching badges, because then in turn our reputation will increase and we're more likely to go and get other jobs in the future. So far though, 52% win percentage, 17 games played. We now have basic knowledge of China, which is pretty good. And I'm hoping if I go to here that we'll soon be able to pick up a little bit of either Chinese or Cantonese as languages spoken, because all of these things are only going to be a good thing for our manager profile. One thing I've not been able to do, and maybe this is something you'll have to let me know how important this is. In any of my saves ever, media handling always goes to 1%, because going to press conferences feels like a step too far. In my journeyman save, which I did on Twitch this year, I did actually manage to make my media handling 100% because I went to every press conference. It was very time consuming, and I'm not actually sure it made all that difference to get another job. So we were able to get other jobs before I did that, and then obviously once I did that too. So I don't know, let me know. Is there anything that I need to be doing specifically to help me on this journey? Please do let me know in the comments down below. But also consider how you do tell me to do those things. I've played a lot of Football Manager. I know my way around the game. I'm very open to suggestions, as you would have seen in that last series if you watched that series, which, by the way, if you haven't, go and watch it. It was so much fun. But being told everything you do is rubbish, even though it's going quite well, is just a bit annoying, to be honest. Anyway, we digress. Let me show you our youth intake, which looks amazing. I don't think it is, though. This really is actually a damning indictment of where the squad actually is. We've had, for what is a good intake, which is at first look, this appears to be a good group of young players. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 elite talents that, according to this, all have 5-star potential, or there or thereabouts. I'm not sure how many of them are actually going to. If I pick out one that I like the look of, it was the left back looked pretty good, Lin Jun, because we don't have a left back. This guy will play games for us, but I'm not looking at him and thinking he is going to be amazing. But I'm also not going to rule him out, because, again, if there's anything I learned from that youth intake only save, it was these players, if you play them, can really develop. Is there, in this list of players, Wang Jin, Wei Ping, is there a player here that becomes a save hero that we take with us to every team that we go in this adventure? Most of you will know that I'm a bit of a sentimental person like that, and I'd love to take them on the journey. Like these guys here have got 2.5 stars for the senior team. Zhang Wenda at left mid, potentially left wing. He does have a mohawk as well. That is always something. There's also, who was the other one there? It was also Yin Chengyu, who is a right midfielder. Has actually decent physicals, good finishing. He could be one potentially too. I think, to be honest, with them being this many, I think we're going to go and sign all of them and find out if any of them are good. I do need players. So it says here, ask director of football to sign the recommended players. I'm going to sign all of them because the squad is actually pretty bare, but they're doing an okay job. Yang Hao is our main goal scorer. He's got 18 goals now in the 31 games for the entire season. He's actually, if you look at him, not that much better than some of those intake players. So this is why the intake looks as good as it actually does. He's a goal scorer in this league. We do need to build for next season as well. I've actually also made a signing. It was the transfer window when you were last with me. I signed Paul Joan, who is a New Caledonian international. I don't think I've ever had a New Caledonian player. Have you? I've given him the number 10. He also scored 4 goals in one game. It is the only 4 goals he's scored, but he's been pretty good. But he did actually score all of those goals in one singular game. It was this game here, a 5-3 win against JN Jinghao. 4 goals in quite a small amount of time as well there from Paul Joan, and then after that didn't go and score again. You see, actually, we started quite well. It was 4 wins on the bounce. Then it went 4 games without a win. We got knocked out of the cup. Then we won a game. Then we lost a game. Then we won 3 on the bounce, and then went 3 without a win. And then we've won our most recent game here. So 2 games to go. I'm going to go and play those, and we'll see what happens at the end of this season. But I did want to come back now because of these young youth players, and because, who knows, maybe we can make a hero out of one of these. I'll check in next with you at the end of this season, potentially at the beginning of the next one, having maybe rebuilt this team. I'm going to go and continue, and I'll be back. All right, so I have finished the season. I haven't yet done the rebuild, though, but I wanted to show you that we have got our new budgets for next year, and they're actually quite a lot higher than I thought they were going to be. We've got 1.75 million to go and spend for next year, and a wage budget where we've got 1,000 left. So I'm obviously going to move a bit of this money into our wage budget where we've now got 12k. I actually feel like I can go and rebuild this team definitely to a place where I think we can get them promoted. That's going to be the plan for next year. There's also something else going on at the moment that I need to tell you about, and that is a potential takeover. It says Guangzhou takeover rumors persist. Takeover talk continues to dominate the conversation at FA Cup quarterfinalist Guangzhou. And now before that, it also called them a tycoon. So a tycoon takeover could be glorious. That was way back on the 21st of October. We're now on the 12th of November without anything happening. This bit of news came through on the 26th of October. It says on here that it's a local entrepreneur. So who knows what's going to happen. But if we do get a lovely takeover and maybe even more money than this, that could be quite lovely, couldn't it? It is still going on as well. If I go to the board here, it does say, due to the club being in a takeover process, we've altered the 5-year plan. Who knows? Usually when you get this news through, the first couple of times, it doesn't actually go through, does it? But it's been almost, we're approaching like 3 weeks now, and it hasn't gone away again. So who knows? By the time I come back next time, I would have spent £1.1 million on transfers, and most of it probably on wages of new players. And maybe we'll have new owners that are going to finance us and bankroll us to going to win not just this league, but the top division in China, and then hopefully, eventually, the Asian Champions League as well. Fingers crossed for that, and I'm hoping for a positive update when I come back. Well, there you go then. That's that. No takeover. Alrighty, welcome to the start of season number 2. Did I just say alrighty? Think I did. Here, though, is our amazing team heading into our first full season, but second season of the save so far. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of setting us up for promotion. It's so much so that I'll go through the players in a second. So much so that we are now officially favourites, odds-on favourites to win this league. All it took was that £1.75 million or whatever that transfer budget was. It felt like a lot of money, and perhaps that's because Guangzhou used to be a pretty good team. I was having a look at this here, and you kind of see why they've been given a bit of money. They've actually, I mean, they were winning the Super League not so long ago when they were known as Guangzhou Evergrande. Now, I don't quite know the history of Guangzhou, but there is now an Evergrande team separate, and then they became known as Guangzhou FC, and since then they've been relegated down to the second division here. Look, they were relegated in 2022, and we've now had that 2023 season where we finished 9th. And then we're heading to our second season in the second division. I'm hoping we go back up. We really should with the team that we've built. I've spent 79k plus at the end of last season, 625k. So we spent about £700,000, and that actually includes Paul Joan here, who I've had to sort of cut out of the side, which I'm not particularly proud of. But I've used my full quota of foreign signings. I did it immediately, actually. I went to town scouting to try and find the best players that we would be willing to come and join Guangzhou. And I thought, well, they've had history of signing Brazilian players. Paulinho famously was here when the club was Guangzhou Evergrande. Let's look for some Brazilians. And I found this man, Ronnie. So he's going to lead our line for next year. I think he's really good for this league. He is signed on a free transfer. He's only 25 as well, which is quite cool. I have set us up to fail potentially, though, because if we don't get promoted, he will leave on a... Well, he's got a non-promotion release clause of 80k. So he might go if we don't get promoted. But it's not actually that far away from his value anyway. But I think we will get promoted. He comes in now. It looks like he's been here before. This is because I signed him before the takeover, and then I trialed him until he was able to join permanently. And it looks like he's been here for 3 seasons, but all of it was in 2023. So I haven't actually had him that long. Ronnie is one of them, and he's going to form the point of our 4-pronged attack, if you like. On the right-hand side, one of our other 3 foreign players that we're allowed to register, I've gone for Hinostroza. Joao Hinostroza, who's a Colombian, I was going to say international, definitely not an international, but a Colombian winger who was joined from, he was last at Rahmatganj Muslim Friends Society Dhaka of Bangladesh, that well-known team. But I think he can be decent for this league. He's got good acceleration and pace and good dribbling and stuff like that, which is usually enough in a league like this. In fact, it makes him pretty highly rated in our squad. And that's because he's also next to this man, or his opposite on the opposite wing to this man who has the sideways photo. His name is Nathaniel Martinez, an Argentinian, only 23. Again, decent physicals, decent crossing, dribbling, finishing, first touch. He's going to play on the left-hand side. I'm going to play him as an inside forward, but he is left-footed, which I don't think is the end of the world, to be honest. He was most recently in Argentina, and he's done the same thing where we signed him early, then we trialed him, and then he's joined permanently, so it looks like he's been here ages. But he hasn't. Those three are probably the most exciting players in the team, but the most highly rated player in the team is Wang Zhuming, who is a 32-year-old that I have signed for 550k. Now, he may well start here. We might swap him with Zheng Ji, depending on who I'd prefer, really. But I think probably we'll go with Wang Zhuming in this position here because he's just fantastic. He's 32. No caps for China, but he looks a level above this league pretty much. Especially, you can kind of see it with his value. He's got a value of 1.1 mil to 1.8 mil. So he's going to be on number 8. And then in our midfield, the whole team's basically new pretty much. I think Wang Pengda was here before. And I think that's it, to be honest. We've got a left... Oh, well, let's go to the midfield first. Zheng Ji is a Chinese international legend. He's 44 and he can't run, but he's really... Well, he used to be very good. He also had a spell at Celtic, so some of you may well recognise him. He's also at Charlton, I think. Yeah, Charlton before that as well. So he has got pedigree in Britain. So we've brought him back to Guangzhou, which is actually where he was before the relegation, it seems. And now he's happy to come back here. And he's actually not even on a big wage, but he is 44 years old. So I don't know how good he's going to be, but I'm hoping that with other good players who can run around him, it'll be useful. That's why I am debating playing him as the number 10, because maybe it will include less running than the defensive midfield spot, but we'll see. Next to him is going to be Kong Zhen, who can run a little bit faster. He's 28. At left back, I've got Zhang Zhipeng, who great mentals. He's 36, so another slightly older player, but we needed new fullbacks. Right back, Zhang Wei, who is 31, looks decent. And then alongside Wang Pengda, Huang Wei is another new signing this summer, who's 31. Wang Pengda was here. Huo Shenping was already here. And I've allowed a couple of players to go. Really, it was just relegated. You see the players. These are all the players that I've just gone through. A couple of players have gone released at the end of their contract. Players like Aisa Zhan played a few games. Guang Liang played quite a lot of games last season. But I allowed them to leave. Well, I say I allowed them to. They were going to leave anyway because they were considering their options at the end of their contracts and they wanted to go anyway. But I've flown through that because I'm hoping that we just go and get ourselves a pretty routine promotion, and then we might need to rebuild again once we're back into the Chinese Super League to try and win that league, then try and win the Champions League eventually. I'm not sure how many of these players will be on this journey for the whole time. Definitely not Zheng Ji at 44, but that would be great if he was, wouldn't it? If we could get him to be that old, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think now, though, it's time to go and play some games, whiz through this league, hopefully, get ourselves promoted, and well and truly get ourselves on this journey to greatness eventually. So maybe I'll see you at about the halfway mark. Okay, welcome back to the midway point of our first full season and our second season of our adventure here, where things are going pretty well. There are a couple of negatives, which we'll touch upon in a second, but the main thing is that we are top of the league. As expected, we're winning this league at this stage. Now, we are only actually 2 points clear, despite so far being unbeaten. I really want to go Invincible for the entire season. I think it's a really great thing to add to your CV, especially in a save like this where we need to go and get big jobs eventually. We're going to go and need to get a job at a team that can win the European Champions League. So we need to build from here. An Invincible season in our first full season would be quite nice, wouldn't it? We've played 15, so it's officially halfway. 12 wins and 3 draws. One of the draws was fairly recently. We drew to Wugo 3-3 look. They got themselves a nice draw at our place. But overall, on the pitch, things are going very well. If I show you the team here, one thing I didn't mention earlier is that one of the rules of the league is that you have to have an under-21s Chinese player in your team. So when I showed you and went through the team earlier on in the season, I actually didn't include this. This is why if I go to a quick pick here, Luo Long is getting into the team not because he's a really good player, but because he's under 21 and Chinese. So this is something I do need to consider when it comes to recruitment. Trying to find the best young Chinese players could be something to look for next season, as I'm assuming that the same rule will apply if we get to the Super League. Overall, though, the rules aren't too restrictive because as long as you know that you can only have 3 foreign players registered at any time, and you can only register a maximum of 4 foreign players per season. Once you do that, the rules outside of that aren't too restrictive, other than having this one under 21s Chinese player. Now, what I've done is I've just included a load of those youth intake players in the squad. And I've kind of just been going through and quick picking to try and make sure that we're doing enough rotation to get through the season. Because we're quite clearly the favourites to win the league, you can see some of the performances have been good too. Ronnie's got himself 11 goals in 17 games. Martinez has been good on this left-hand side. He's actually got himself, if I just auto-size this, he's got himself 8 assists as well, which is quite nice. 10 goals from Hinestroza on the right. The big one, Zheng Zhi's got himself 10 goals from midfield. Our 44-year-old midfielder, legend. I don't know if he's actually going to be a legend. I hope he is. But he's got himself 10 goals. Now, a lot of them have been, he's our penalty taker. So a lot of them have been penalties, including where he did get himself a hat-trick of penalties. So that kind of makes up for a lot of the numbers there. But as you see, there are the results on here. The 3 draws. Weirdly, 2 of them have been 3-3 draws. Maybe that's just because we score a lot of goals, but we do maybe concede some. Like we've won this game 5-3, but conceded 3. Even this one scored 5, but conceded 2. Overall, though, it's going very well on the pitch. Like I did say before, though, a couple of negatives. One of the negatives is that we've lost one of our star men. Wang Pengda has moved. We've lost him recently at the end of June. Look, we're into July here. So we are actually in that weird mid-season transfer window that we did at the start of the save earlier on. I'm not really going to do too much business, but I have replaced Wang Pengda with Tang Chuang. So Wang Pengda was a 22-year-old under 23 international for China. It is a bit of a loss, but he told me he was going to consider his options at the end of his contract. And then there was a bit of an auction between a few teams. We managed to get 155k for him, but it is a loss. I've replaced him with Tang Chuang, who is 29, so much older, but has got 17 jumping reach. So that did play into my mind a little bit. Could give us a few goals from set pieces. Hopefully. That's one of the negatives, but it's only a minor thing. I feel like we can cope with it. The other negative is that we are once again under takeover rumour. Now, this time, it's a negative because it's a takeover from within. It's a local investor. It's not the tycoon takeover that we very nearly got. I say very nearly got. The one that was rumoured to happen back last season. This time, it doesn't look quite as good, but it is coming up on here again due to the club being in a takeover process. So let's see if this one happens. And if it does, I guess we'll just have a look at what happens to the finances after that. We should start planning, I think, to go back to the Chinese Super League, which is good. And if they gave us over £1 million in this league, they should give us a pretty healthy budget for the top division, you would imagine. Maybe it'll be different if we get a new owner, though. That is a thing. The other and final negative is that I have, of course, been constantly asking to go on a coaching course, and they've been constantly saying no. So we are still badgeless as a manager. We have got a 67% win percentage though, so that looks good, doesn't it? I think if you actually go and compare that to the rest of the world, we'd look pretty good. We still can't speak any Chinese or Cantonese though. I don't know if that's a worry. I mean, maybe it's because I rarely communicate directly with my players because I kind of ignore them, and I don't go to press conferences. That's down to 6%. Let's see if it has an effect. If it does, weirdly, and I'm sure loads of you have not tried this, but if you go to just a load of press conferences in a row, you actually build up your media handling percentage really quite quick. It only takes a few consecutive press conferences, and you will see this to pick up quite nicely. So I'm not actually worried. I went from 1%, the absolute minimum, to 100% just by constantly going to them. So I'm not worried because, one, I don't think it actually makes a difference, and 2, I think we can fix it down the line. Our reputation is still down at 5%. So we don't have a great chance of getting another job yet, but maybe once we get hopefully a title and a promotion on our CV, maybe even an Invincible season, maybe this will improve enough, because our attributes right now are still looking pretty low. Of course, these attributes would improve if we were allowed to go on a coaching course. And so far, they've said no to all of it. They have said they're going to improve our training facilities, but we are waiting on that. I can't ask for I can't ask for a coaching course again yet. That, though, is the midway point. I guess we keep this trainer rolling on. I'll see you, hopefully, to celebrate a title win. I'll see you at the end of the season. Okay, it's not quite the end of the season yet, but I've got an update that I felt like I had to share with you. I've just started a coaching course, finally. So I finally came around that I could actually ask for a new one. I asked for another one. They said no. As you can see here, they rejected it. But I took a risk. And maybe this is something that you guys would have told me anyway in the comments down below. But I threatened to leave. I threatened to resign and said I can't do my job anymore. You know, the threaten option on there. And it worked. They went, oh, clearly this is something that is close to your heart. And they've said yes. So I am actually now studying for my National C license. Basically, in my head, I was like, if they actually have a problem, there'll probably be a conversation, and I feel like we're doing well enough that I'll be able to talk my way back into a job. But that could have gone terribly. There was a chance there that we'd be looking for a new job right now, wasn't there? But no, we've managed to start building towards the first rung on the ladder, our national C license, which I feel like it's taken a long time to get to, but we are where we are. The other thing that I needed to tell you is that there is takeover news. Now, I was going to say it's bad news, but actually it could be good news. The local investor, it's not happening. The chairperson, Liu Qian, has sensationally quashed reports. So we once again continue. It's no longer on here either. So we are not going to be having a takeover this time. So maybe it usually takes a few of these before a takeover actually goes through. So I guess we'll see if the next one happens. Anyway, we're still top of the league. We're still unbeaten. Let's go and finish this season off. We've got 9 games to go. I'll see you then. Okay, the season is over and we've done it. We've gone invincible. It feels good. And it actually feels like we've made quite a lot of progress in the entire save, the entire adventure, just from one little achievement here. Now, we've won the 2nd division in China. So it really is a small step, but we surely have improved our reputation as an up-and-coming coach, right? We've gone 25 wins from 30, 5 draws. One of them, by the way, was the final game of the season. We've just drawn to Suzhou Dongwu 3-3. It actually wasn't quite as close as it looks on here because we actually equalised in the 70th minute. But we were behind in this game. In the second half, there were quite a few where late goals kept us in it. Some of these draws, it was a little bit sketchy at time, but overall, I mean, it was an easy season, wasn't it? We have got ourselves 80 points. It is a record. The best part about it is if you go to our profile here, we have now got a 71% win percentage, which is really, really good. But look, our reputation is up to 15%. That's gone from 5% to 15% all in this season alone. We've also picked up basic Cantonese. I don't know how useful that's going to be once we've completed the Asian leg of this Pentagon, but it's quite nice to, at the end, to have a look back at which languages we can speak on this manager. I feel like it's something we need to kind of track. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, this knowledge here, the scouting knowledge. We've got extensive knowledge now of China, which is very cool. If you go to our job history, we have picked up 4 Manager of the Month as well. And of course, that title win, which we won a few weeks ago now. It's annoying that it doesn't, I mean, does it say on here that you went invincible? No, it just says that we've record breakers on here. So I don't actually know if the invincible thing is something tangible in game that is even recognized. Maybe because it's only just happened, it hasn't quite registered it yet. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We're still waiting on the completion of our coaching badge, but right now we head into our new season with a new transfer budget, which they gave us £1.75 million, I think it was, right? So you're expecting loads back into the Super League. They've given us 1.42 mil. Now, I'm not complaining because actually, if you have a look, the wage budget is humongous. 79,000 per week available in wage budget. If I was to move that into the money, it's about 5 million, which is a bit more in line. And I think most of it I'd use on wage budget anyway, because I think you can get some really good free transfers, basically. Another bit of news, Ronnie, who was our top goal scorer last year, is leaving. He got us 18 goals, 19 in all comps, 3 assists, 7.15. Was he top goal scorer? He was at one. He was top goal scorer with Wang Xiaoming, our number 10. He's very, very good, by the way. He came second with 17 goals. But Ronnie is going to leave. He's going to go back to Brazil. I'm not too upset about this because I think we can upgrade. I mean, he's got the goals, so maybe I shouldn't do. But I think we can get a better player once we're a top division team here in China. And obviously, he uses one of our foreign spots. So I think we can get an even better one in. But I'm going to wait for the tick over, so our reputation updates, and then sign the foreign players this time around, because I'm hoping we can start to attract some decent footballers. The club rep is still 2.5 stars on here, but if this improves, you've seen some great players come and play in the Chinese league. Maybe we can attract a brilliant player to try and get us to establish ourselves in that top division, and we need to go and start winning it so that we start qualifying for the Champions League, because that's actually what we're aiming for this leg of our Pentagon. Oh, look, we're actually a favour personnel now. That's very nice indeed. Did Ronnie get on there? No, Ronnie didn't. Anyway, let's go and get ourselves to that tick over point, get ourselves into that top division and see what we can build for next season, our 3rd season of our adventure. Come on. Okay, so actually I've gone until about the midway point of our 3rd season here, and ignore the fact that I've had a mid-video haircut. It kind of does destroy the illusion that I'm doing this all in one go, doesn't it? But here in August of 2025, we've made a strong start to life back in at the Chinese Super League. We're 8th. We are very, very I mean, perfectly mid-table in this league with actually a bit of a gap to go above us and then a nice gap to the relegation zones where Nanjing City and Qingdao Youth Island, which is a ridiculous name, by the way, are very much looking like they're going to get relegated. So there's no threat of relegation. Instead, we're going to try and push as high as we can in this league. Now, I've decided to jump forward a bit further because this is becoming a bit of a nothing season. It's a season where we have to solidify our place back in the league, but we're not going to make any significant progress towards this Asian Champions League because we just needed to make sure that we got ourselves back in the top division. I did make a lot of signings, which I'm going to show you now and talk you through. I spent £775,000 and I also sold players. Well, I sold one player for £775,000. The sold player was Wang Quming, who he played as our number 10 last year. I showed you he had that high value. He's getting on a bit now. He's 33 and he really cannot run, which, I mean, that might be a reason to sell someone. But when I show you who I've replaced him with, you'll be like, well, neither of them can run. But you sort of understand what I'm talking about. He was great for us last year in the lower division. He played, well, he scored 17 goals and got 8 assists. Look, 5 player of the matches too. But we made a profit on him after one season. I felt like, and because of his age and his physicals, I felt like it was the right decision to let him go. And it also financed our entire summer, didn't it? I don't think there was any transfers before the takeover. We are looking at 2025 transfers. Yeah, they're all on here, look. So we spent biggest on Wan Mincheng, who is a centre-back, 6'2", Chinese. I went and really just scouted for the best Chinese players to bring in, because if we're going to spend money, it would make sense to try and bring the best ones of those, because there's loads of those foreign players that are on free transfers who want big wages. But I think it's best to then spend the transfer budget on Chinese players. And we were going to need lots of them because as well as these two that we sold, there were a lot of players that were released at the end of December just because I didn't renew them because I wasn't sure they were going to be good enough for this league, etc., etc. But some of these had played a lot of football, but we needed to basically rebuild our team and build a whole new squad, which is what I went and did. So Wan Mincheng was where the money was spent. I also spent on Su Wanji, who can play everywhere, but I've been using him as a right back in the first. Well, he's played 6 games so far, but he's going to be a right back for us. But and also it's a good squad player to have, isn't he? He can play anywhere on the wings and up front, but nowhere down the middle of the pitch. Interesting footballer. Also, then before we look at the foreign signings, we also bought in Jin Yang Yang, who is a centre-back, 6'4". Always good to bring those big players in. However, he's not really played that much football and is a bit upset because we had to promise him star player and he's very much not a star player. I mean, he's started 6 games, 8 off the bench, so 14 appearances, but not loads of appearances for that 31k that we've spent on him. And then finally, for money, Feng Boshuan, who is another right back. He's been playing as a right back for us as well. He's played 16 games and 15 starts in there too. He can play in all the same positions as the last guy, can't he? But also, again, not in the middle of the pitch for him either. There was also, I'll just show you really quickly some of the other players that came in. Huang Zhengzhu is a midfielder. Tian Yuda is a striker, 6'3", just as a backup. Jiang Shenglong is very good, actually. We're going to use him either as a centre-back or as a midfielder, but he's very good, 6'4". And then finally, these guys who are our foreign signings. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, there's a reason for that, and it's actually too many. Now, in the top division, you can have up to 5 foreign players in your squad, and you can register up to 7 foreign players in a season, 6 at any one time. That's important because I did actually sign too many, but there was sort of reasoning for that. Let's go through them. The first of which was signed for £95,000 was Ezekiel. In fact, it's not even the first of which. Let's do it in the order. The first of which was Brenner, who's come in. Not the Brenner that you're thinking of. I think he plays for Cincinnati and he was really good on Football Manager a few years ago. It's not quite him, but he is a Brazilian striker. This one is 32 years old and has spent time all over the place, really. He was most recently in Vietnam, was in Peru before that, before Brazil, was in Japan and then Thailand before that. But we've brought him to China, where you'll notice he's played no games. That is because immediately, and I mean immediately, he did this. He damaged his Achilles tendon in his first, well, it was in a friendly, I think it was. It says it's in match, and that was against Guangzhou. Yeah, that's a friendly, while sprinting, and he's out for 5 months. So our big new striker, who we've put on really big wages to fire us up the division, injured in pre-season for 5 months. I then thought, I actually haven't technically registered him because the registration period hadn't finished. So in my head, I was like, oh, I can take him back out and register somebody else. Apparently, no, that is not the case. I then couldn't register other people when I unregistered him. So I signed somebody to replace him. and now I can't register him. It seems a bit backwards to do that, because if you can make any changes to your registration up until the deadline, but it does count it towards your 7 permitted foreign players to be registered, even though the deadline hasn't finished. If that makes sense anyway. Basically, I brought in Marcus Guilherme, who is brilliant, but I can't register him now. You'll see he's unregistered. I think we're just going to have to keep him around and hope that he's still good, and we'll register him for next season, which is really annoying, because also, after signing Brenner, I also went and signed Ezequiel Vidal for 95k, who's going to play on the left wing. Fantastic. He's currently unregistered because also, immediately, he's out for 5 months in a pre-season friendly. He broke his ankle. Football Manager, you are just cruel. You are just cruel. So 2 of our big new signings, he is also on, well, he's on decent wages, 4,500, but we spent nearly 100k on him as well. He's going to be brilliant. Again, when he's back, he'll be really useful for us. But this is why my foreign player registration, I had it all under control. I had a proper plan for it, and it went haywire because of the injuries. I also then signed Ganso to play as our number 10. This is what I was talking about getting rid of the one lad because he couldn't run and replacing him with Ganso, who also can't run. But it's Ganso, a Football Manager legend right there. And I'm hoping, well, actually, he's done all right for us. He's played games. He's got 4 goals, 3 assists, and 6.87. So he's doing okay. And he has been registered. And then also signed another Brazilian, Romulo, to go and play in defensive midfield. And he's been great. He's been really good. He's only 30 as well. So I feel like we can get a few years out of Romulo. He's played 14 games, 3 goals, 1 assist, decent average rating as well in this top division. So he's another one who was playing in Vietnam before this as well, which is quite fun, isn't it? I wonder if, is that the same team as Brenner? Yeah, I think it is. Nam Dinh is where they've both come from. So Brenner was at Nam Dinh and Romulo was also at Nam Dinh. So maybe they're mates. Do they get along with each other? No, apparently they're not. But we've brought them both here from Nam Dinh, which is quite fun, isn't it? And those are the... Oh, no, there was one more. This guy as well. Ahmed Shaharili has come in as our main defense centre-back, who have also registered as one of our foreign players. He joins from Al Ittihad on a free transfer. And he's very solid. Scored 2 goals. Again, just very... He's 32. He's a Saudi Arabian international, Ahmed Shaharili. So he made us better. The squad, when you look at it, looks like this at the moment. But it's a bit of a mess because of the foreign thing. You can play up to 5 foreign players in a squad. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the moment. Although right now, Martinez isn't registered. So if I do you a quick pick, we've had to play. This is the best 11, but they just can't all play. If I actually do a quick pick instead, you'll see that the striker's having to change. I mean, I've had to play this Yang Hao again. He scored loads of goals for us in the first season, that half a season that we played. Didn't play last year, and now he's back in the team now that we're back in the Super League. It's a bit ropey, but we're doing okay. We're getting results. With me trying to juggle the registration rules, I'm quite happy to be able to say that we're not going to get relegated and we're probably going to finish mid-table. We had a really good start, look. We went unbeaten in 5, then we lost the game, then we won a game in the league, won in the cup as well. Then we lost, well, then we didn't win in 3, lost 2 out of 3 of the next games, then 1 in the cup. We actually went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Super League games without a win between May and July. And then most recently, we've won our last 3. So we're a bit patchy. Depends really who's available. I'm kind of just hoping that a few of those big players can come back from injuries and see us through to the end of this season. But yeah, it's a bit rough. Other updates though to show you. We have finished getting our National C license, which is quite fun. I have been asking quite a lot to go and get our B license. So far they are saying no though, but we are officially a National C license manager. We are also up to 25% reputation, which feels decent, you know. We've made progress. And also, I was talking about it before, on our manager timeline, it does actually acknowledge that we went unbeaten. So it is on there somewhere. It's also, if you look at the profile, it says guided Guangzhou to an unbeaten season in China League 1. So it is kind of on there. If you go to our profile, it is actually being acknowledged on there. I wonder if it's on our biography, actually. No, that is fantastic. Born in Hereford, Guangzhou manager, lifted the Chinese Jia League in 2024. It's quite a short biography at this stage, but we'll make it work. Our win percentage, by the way, something I am keeping an eye on, is at 66%. Not terrible. Played 71, won 47. I feel like that's going to be competitive around the world. Although right now, I'm not really thinking about that. There was a thought that maybe I should be looking to see, can I just skip, now that we're going to have this nothing season, can I see if there's any jobs higher up that I could jump to? But I think we're building something here at Guangzhou. So I think I'd give it at least another season to see if we can start challenging and maybe qualifying for the Asian Champions League. And then from there, hopefully we can go on to win it in the next few seasons. That's kind of where my head's at, because we need to get this show on the road. We've got a Pentagon to go and win, haven't we? Right now, though, I'm going to go and finish this season. I'm going to keep applying for this coaching course that they keep rejecting, and I'll hopefully be back with some lovely news at the end of this season. Okay, and here is that good news at the end of this season. We finished 6th. Actually better than I thought. We were very much mid-table before, 8th place, right in the middle. We have managed to make up a couple of places. 48 points in our first season back in the big time is solid. It's not remarkable because we want to go and actually win the entire continental competition here. But for now, we're in a good spot. We are chasing the likes of Shanghai Shenhua, Shanghai Port and Beijing Guoan because they are the best teams in this league. It's Beijing Guoan who have won the league this year, 73 points. Our 48 doesn't look too bad though, does it? We continued the pattern really of the first half of the season that I brought you, where we lost all these games, then we won a few. We then continued it. We got to the FA Cup semi-final and lost to Beijing Guoan, who are by far the best team in this league. This underlines it. We played them twice away from home in a row and lost 5-1 in both of those games. And I was a bit worried that our season would be a bit derailed here. Out of the cup and just lost to a team 5-1. But we then went unbeaten in 6 games. 4 of them were draws. 4 draws in a row, by the way. That is just silly, isn't it, to be honest? But we kind of take it with the team that we've got with our injuries. You might actually be able to see on here when Brenner comes back around here and we win a game 7-1 and he scores twice in it. That did help a lot getting back our injured players. I don't know if you can see him on the goal scorers here, but Vidal also did return to the team, which also made us a lot better. We lost the game to Shanghai Shenhua. Those teams that are above us, they are better than us. We can beat most teams in the league. We actually beat Shanghai Port here, and they are better than us. But then we played Shenhua luck and lost 3-1. And then we win other games 7-1, 5-3. We drew our last game 0-0, but it was good enough. We couldn't have made up the points on 5th place anyway. And it was a 5-point gap to 4th place. It would have been nice to finish 4th. I'm not going to lie to you. To get straight into the qualifying rounds for the continental club competitions would have been good. It would have been felt like we were ahead of schedule then. But I'm hoping that a season where we've established ourselves back in the top division is going to hopefully give us a nice rep boost to be able to sign some good players to try and finish 4th for next year. I'm a bit worried that that doesn't seem to be the case right now. And the idea that we are in a bit of debt financially, I'm hoping that they actually give us some money. It says that next season's minimum budget is £709,000. And if it is that, that's not amazing because it's the Chinese players that we need to sign. They actually cost quite a lot of money to get any decent ones. So I'm a bit worried about this, but we haven't actually been given our budgets yet. So when we find that out, I'll be able to check for you. On a personal note, we are now officially studying for our B license. I did the same thing. I threatened to leave my job and they went for it, luckily. I kind of think I should stop doing that now because I'm a bit worried that they will just be like, all right, see you later then, and sack me. And that would be disastrous. Although, would it be disastrous? Because we've gained enough of a reputation that maybe now, could we get a job at one of these teams in the top division? Would it be the end of the world? Or do I need to take these risks to try and climb the ladder a little bit, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, it's worked. We're going for our B license at the moment. And the other news is that there's still no takeover, even though it's been rumored, I think 3 or 4 more times for a local investor. Still not gone through. I kind of wonder if we do get the investment, maybe they could clear the debts and then maybe we get more of a transfer budget. We will see. I'll go and find out what our budgets are for next season. Here are the stats from our players this year. Feng Boschwan got 12 assists from right back. That's pretty good. 7 goals from Shaharili in defence as well. Brenner ended up being our top goal scorer, even though he only played 15 games. So he played half of the games this year. Still scored 10 goals. Vidal came back and was pretty good for us as well. You see his average rating over the last 5 games there. Zheng Ji is going to retire. This is sad news. Our 46-year-old now, Zheng Ji, is retiring at the end of this season. So we say goodbye to him. He's played a lot of games for us for what is quite an old man at this stage. He's retiring, as is also Ganso. After playing 32 games for us and scoring 10 goals, Ganso is retiring as well at the end of this season on the 29th of December. I'm also still getting my head around when the takeover date is and things like that. Here's Marcus Guilherme, by the way. Next season, he should come in on this right-hand side and make us a lot better too, because I'll be able to register him. I'm going to try and be very careful with our registration now that I understand how it works and not register the foreign players until the very last minute when I need to. And then I'll know which ones I can register and it won't give them time to get injured after I've registered them, if that makes sense. Lesson learnt. Let's go and do some transfer budget as we build towards, hopefully, Champions League qualification next season. 4 seasons in, I feel like we have to be qualifying for the Champions League on this Pentagon. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very long career, which it might be anyway, mightn't it? Good fun, though. I'll see you once I've done some more transfers. The best bit. Okay, so here's my transfer business to set us up for this 4th season then. The aim, as a minimum, I'm going to say that, is to qualify for the Champions League. And I've gone pretty big in the window, as you can see here. I've spent £3.6 million, which is the entirety of the budget. I did make back, there's £350,000 there. And also, before the takeover, I believe anything with 2026, there's another 400k there and another 100k there. So I've spent our transfer budget plus the money that we brought in. It comes to 3.6, as well as a couple of these are in future installments. The biggest signing, well, the biggest by name, is probably the one that you saw at the top there. Naby Keita is a Guangzhou player. It felt right. It feels vaguely realistic that Naby Keita would come and play his football in China. Now, the Chinese league has this history of signing big players from European clubs to bring them to China. I've gone for Naby Keita. I'm not quite sure how long his body is going to last because, again, he's another midfielder that we've signed that can't run. However, let's just hope that we can get the best out of him. He comes in, he's on 8,750 per week. Our biggest outlay in terms of transfer fee, though, was on this man here, Wang Jia. He's a new gen who looks like he's got quite a lot of potential. He comes from Chengdu Rongcheng, and he's going to play probably as our number 10, I think. He looks pretty... He's 18. He's got caps for the under-23s. Looks like he should get a bit better as well, mainly if he improves his physicals. As always, I was looking for those good Chinese players. Couldn't find that many, but I did find this guy who has potential to become one of those really good Chinese players. So I've invested quite heavily in him, and I'll try and give him some game time this year. I've also spent 500k on Yu Jin, who's going to be a left back for us. He's called a winger here, but he's going to be our left back. And then there's a few other players in here too. Nan looks pretty good. He's another new gen, 6'4". Q Lin, he's going to be is he our right back? Yeah, he's going to be our right back. And we've also got Yuan Jingsong for 70k. And then this one's quite interesting. I've loaned Bao Yushen, who I think is going to be really, really good. He's 18. He's got a cap for China already. Decent physicals, good finishing. Couldn't sign him permanently because his value was up to £7 million, but we could loan him. So I've loaned him with an optional fee of £4.2 million, so that if we do have if we qualify for the Champions League next year and then we end up with good money to spend, we could make it permanent, is my thinking. So he's played once for Shanghai Port already, but I'm going to take a punt on him. It did cost us 225k to loan him. I've done this before with other new gens. You kind of have to be there or thereabouts. Otherwise, they get picked up by big teams and you'll never sign them. Their value goes too high. Signing him now with the optional fee feels like a gamble worth taking. So he comes in. And then other than that, the only other new signing was this man here, Nicola Soldo, who's going to come in and use up one of our foreign slots. He replaces the outgoing Ahmed Shaharili, who has gone to Al-Tai. He was in his final year of his contract and he told me he's going to leave on a free at the end of it. So I've sold him for about 100k, replaced him with this man here who, he looks pretty good. He's a Croatian under-21 international back in the day, and he's going to be in our defense. The squad's going to look a bit like this. It's going to be the same keeper, Huo Shenpeng, Qulin at left back, Zhu Jin at right back, and then Soldo Mincheng at the back. Romulo and Jinan, this new gen Jinan who comes in, the 6'4" guy, he's got 20 aggression. Very, very aggressive is Jinan. In front of them is going to be Zhang Jia in the middle, Guilherme on the right, Vidal on the left, and then Bremer still holding the line or running the line up top. Also, with the chance to play Naby Keita if we want to, although he's kind of the 6th of our 5 foreign players. There's also Martinez, who is still at the club, but I haven't registered him because, as I said before, I'm trying to be really careful with our foreign slots. You can have 6 foreign players registered, so Keita's the 6th here, but you can only have 5 in your squad. So Keita at the moment isn't in the squad, but I'm sure he will get game time when any of the foreign players are injured. So say Vidal's injured, we'll play a different left winger, and then we'll probably pop Naby Keita into the midfield, for example. But right now, we're going to go with that. And if I pick the best 11, it is pretty much that look. The other player that will probably be on the bench and maybe even in the starting lineup at some point is Bao Yushen, the loanee. But we are playing against Shanghai Port first, and he can't play against his parent team. That's the squad. I'm fairly confident that we can go and do this based on how we did last year, based on how the squad looks now. I think we're stronger. Guilherme can actually play, which is a good thing. We're predicted to finish 6th. And of course, that's going to be the plan. Other than that, there is no real update on anything else. Our reputation has stayed as national. I've got my B license and nothing else since then. They've rejected another coaching course since then, which is good. My reputation is up to 30%, but it's pretty much just ticking along like that. We still really do need to improve our training facilities, youth recruitment, youth facilities. But I'm also thinking, what's the point in investing loads of money in that if I'm going to jump ship? After this season, I want to be in the Champions League. And then after that, I'm kind of hoping we'll be able to build a team that's capable of winning that Champions League. So investing in this, it's usually a good thing to do, but right now I'm not sure if I want to do that, especially because our finances are insecure. We've got no money. It didn't improve. It's actually got worse since the end of last season. 3.3 mil in debt. Hopefully we get this takeover. Right now they're not talking about a takeover, but honestly, every month or so, it's conversations about a takeover possibly taking place. Let's now, though, go and play our first half of this season. I'll be back after about 15 games where hopefully we'll be towards the top of that table. Fingers crossed. And here we are at that halfway point of our season, and we are fourth. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not higher than fourth. I suppose we're in touching distance, actually. And if you really consider that Henan Songshan Longmen above us are 2 points above us and they've got a game, they've played an extra game, we've got a game in hand, then maybe we should be in third place. I feel like they're in great form, to be fair to them. That's why they've overtaken us recently. I feel like we should be closer to the top of the table. I actually look at the goal differences, 29, 22, 26. We're scoring. We've scored more goals than anybody else in the league. We're not even conceding that many. I mean, Shanghai Port have been great this year. They've only conceded 9 goals in 15 games. I actually think we should really be challenging for the title, but we're just not quite there. I'll show you the stats of the players in this first half of the season. You can see that most of our goals have been scored by Marcus Guilherme. He's made a huge difference to us this year. Lots of goals from Brenner, even though he did pick up another injury, which does worry me that maybe it wasn't an isolated incident last year when he got injured, and maybe that's just the thing. He has had injuries this year. Vidal's been great. 7 goals, 8 assists, 8 goals from Bao Yushen as well on loan. I wish we had the money to make it permanent. We just don't, because he's actually getting better. Look at that value now. This is why, if we can get some money together, if we qualify for the Champions League and get given a good budget for next season, we should definitely be triggering this optional future fee for 4.2 million for a really good striker. This guy could go and take us to an Asian Champions League win if once we get to that point. Let's hope that happens. Other than an update on how the team is playing, here are the results. It's, as I mentioned, pretty good. A few too many draws, a couple of losses in there, but otherwise pretty good. 9 wins out of 15, 4 draws, 2 losses. It's Shanghai Port leading the way with 0 losses. We're where we want to be, 4 points clear of 5th. So I'm pretty happy, but I always want a little bit more. And I think we're better than the long men is kind of what I think. And maybe if we win our game in hand there, we go above them. And maybe that's order restored potentially. One thing I need to tell you about right now, though, is, again, a takeover in the works. Now, the good thing about this one, and the one that I'm now very, very interested in, is that it's once again a tycoon. We've had so many that were local investors that didn't go through, and we had a tycoon takeover rumoured back in the day. This one is another tycoon takeover. It would just be glorious if we could get a takeover now. It could fix it, especially as we're in July, which means I can actually sign people now. I haven't done any, although I did sell a player. I sold Nathaniel Martinez, the Argentinian winger. That's because we haven't registered him for this year, so I've sold him on. If we did get some money, we would be able to spend. Actually, I need to sort this out as well. I need to pop that back into. I mean, I don't even think we can cover our wage budget here. We don't have much money at the club. We're 5 million in debt now. And also, one thing that I am thinking about, there is a job available. I've decided against it. Oh, it's not available anymore, I don't think. There was a job available at Shanghai Shenhua. So they've gone for King Pan Gong. He's joined the club on the 13th of June. So I was looking at this last month. I was debating whether I should apply for Shanghai Shenhua. And then I looked at the table and we were above them. They were 10th. And I just thought, am I going to make more progress staying here than having to start again at Shanghai Shenhua? I looked at them. Their estimated value is £61 million. Reputation's the same. They've got slightly better facilities. And then I looked at ours. Our value is 2.7 mil with insecure finances, and our facilities are worse. But I just think if we get Champions League this year, does it matter about the facilities? Does it even matter about the value? And our finances, does getting into the Champions League fix the finances? And then after the fact, there's obviously the news that we're under a tycoon takeover potentially. So at this stage, I'm glad that I stayed, but I might regret that if this financial situation gets worse, if this takeover doesn't go through. But I suppose we go and find out if that is the case. I'm going to go and finish the season now, unless there's a takeover, in which case I will need to be back to tell you all about it. Because if that does go through, that was a while ago. That was 5 days ago now that it says this. If this goes through before the end of the window, we might actually be able to spend on some new players anyway, because it does say he's going to invest large sums of money in new players and facilities, which would be lovely, wouldn't it? Let's be honest, it's probably not going to happen. So let's go and finish this season. Oh, hold the phone. Right, so I've gone a couple of weeks only. It's the 2nd of August. I said it's likely not going to happen. However, we've just been put under transfer embargo. The board have placed an embargo upon transfers as a result of rumours regarding a possible takeover. This hasn't happened before. I think that this can still happen and then the takeover doesn't go through. But this suggests that things are a little bit more advanced than before. It also then says this: Guangzhou promised takeover bounty. It would be cruel if it didn't go through. But it says Chinese investor Hu Zhang says he would make £99 million available for new players if his takeover plans are successful. He's reportedly looking to buy out the club's owners for 2.2 million. So he's going to buy the club for 2.2 mil and give us 99 million for transfers. We could genuinely bring back the glory days of the Chinese Super League, bringing in players from Europe for mega money. I'm getting a little bit too hopeful for this. I'll go and continue a few days and see if this goes through. By the way, we're just off the back of losing to Shanghai Port, who are going to win the league this year. We've actually dropped into 5th, but we do have a game in hand. Let's go and find out if this takeover happens. Please let it happen. Oh my words. It's actually happened. It's actually happened. Oh my, I'm so excited. This has just breathed new life into this challenge. I was worried about how long this was going to take before, but do you know what? We'll finish this season and we're going to win the Champions League next year. It's going to happen. This message just says Guangzhou count the money. Things may never be the same at the Century Lotus Stadium after Chinese investor Hu Zhang successfully completed a takeover. He's already indicated that his first priority will to get the club back on a sound financial footing. It also says he will stop at nothing to ensure Guangzhou FC become one of the greatest forces in domestic and continental football. Perfect, because we're doing a Pentagon challenge. It fits. There's a personal message there. It also says they've lifted the transfer embargo. The club vision at the moment seems like we're going to keep our job, which I suppose is a worry. But he's also made extra transfer budget available, extra transfer funds available. The amount of money available for transfers is now £4 million, which I was like, oh, you did promise 99 million. Who? But then I checked it. It's £4 million and £300,000 in wage budget, which if I pop here, is actually a £19 million budget if I take the wages out. Now, I will probably keep a lot of the wage. Let's go to about 8 million because to be honest, we can go even more than that. We're not going to spend that much in wages. I am now going to go and find out who is interested in joining us. I need to go and buy all of the best Chinese players that are willing to join us. We need to spend this money before it gets taken away or something because it feels too good to be true. He also says he's going to improve the facilities and everything as well. How exciting. Right. I'm going to go and see what transfer business I can do. Even if the window's still open, I'm not even sure. And then I'm going to go and finish this season. The bare minimum right now is that we need to get ourselves into the Champions League. Because if we can do that, finish in this top 4 and then have a transfer window with all of this new money, surely we can go and I feel like we can win the Champions League in one season. Maybe that's pushing it, but why not? I'll see you at the end of the season. Come on. Okay, welcome to Champions League qualification, everybody. This has taken such a positive turn. It was becoming a little bit of a grind with the financial situation and then players getting injured and things like that. And now suddenly, don't worry about it. We're going to be absolutely fine. We finished 4th. I'm actually a bit disappointed. I think we're better, or I did think we were better than Henan Songshan Longmen, but we finished 5 points behind them. We've got the same goal difference as the 2 top teams, but they've just snuck in because they don't draw games. They just either win or lose. They've lost more games than us, but they've only drawn once all year. It doesn't matter though, because 4th place, if I go to the rules on here and show you, 4th place shows that we go through to the Champions League 2nd preliminary round. We just need to not mess things up, and we will be in the AFC Champions League in our 5th season of this save. If we go and win it in that season, I think we can go and win it in that season. That would be lovely. It'd be a very neat 5-season Asian Champions League run, wouldn't it? It might not happen, but that is my aim right now. I have also already dipped into the transfer window. I was able to sign a couple of players during that mid-season once we got given the money. And I've signed, if I do it by date here, I've signed a few players for big money. I've signed Zhuang Zhe for 90k. That's less big money, but he looks like a very decent prospect of a Chinese player who can play in the number 10 role. So I picked him up for 90k. You may have already seen the name on here. I also picked up for £1 million Zhao Zhizhen, who can play either at centre-back or at right-back. Another one that he's 18 and he looks like a prospect, so I've decided to try and buy him now. Only 5'11" if we play him at centre-back, but maybe we make him a midfielder. This is my youth-only save brain thinking. Or maybe we just make him a right-back, but he can't cross or dribble. I'm not sure. Either way, we might be able to sell him for a profit. We've bought him for 1 million. I also spent big on a new keeper. Gao Chao is our new keeper. He's only 18. He's another little lad who can't really jump, and his aerial reach is only 11. It's not too bad being 11, is it? But he's a lot better than our other keeper, and he's only 18 and might get better. So I spent big on him. And then, this is the most exciting one. I actually can't believe this has happened. I brought in Renato Sanchez. The Renato Sanchez. He's only 30. Because I could offer him £37,000 in wages. I can offer lower half Premier League wages to players right now, which makes me so excited for this summer because surely we can go and do an absolute madness. I need to be really selective about which players I bring in, but there were some silly, silly names on this list. Renato Sanchez made more sense to me because he was a bit younger than some of the other players that we could bring in. There were players like Daniel Podence and people like that, and weirdly Reece Nelson. But for the team and for his age, I felt like Renato Sanchez made the most sense. And he is so good for this league, like a pure 5-star player to bring in. If we can make our 5 foreign players in our squad as good as Renato Sanchez for next season, we will win the Champions League. There is actually, I don't think there's even a question about that. We haven't yet been given our transfer budgets for next season, by the way. Also, it's not on there yet, but I did make the Bao Yu Chen. It came at the perfect time for this, didn't I? Our loanee, Bao Yu Chen, who went up to like a £10 million transfer value, I managed to make that permanent for that 4.2 optional fee that I agreed. And he actually scored and did really well last year. 10 goals in 26 games. He's only 18. He's got 3 caps for China and we've signed him for 4 million. It's great to have good Chinese players because it's great to have the really expensive foreign players, but you have to have the majority of the team Chinese. So having players like Bao Yu Chen is going to be worth its weight in gold. What's the rule, I suppose? I haven't even looked at this because we've not been in the competition. What is the rule for the Asian Champions League? If I go here, it might be different in terms of how many foreign players are limited here. I mean, I suppose because it's all of Asia, so it won't just be Chinese players. Do you have to have Asian players? Okay, yeah, so it says there must be no more than 6 foreign players in the squad, and the match squad must have no more than 5 foreign players, not including Asian players. So I'm not quite sure how that differentiates between the two there, but it's 5 or 6, so it's going to be relatively similar for the league. So that's just good to know. I think we need to actually work these things out as we go through this journey on this adventure. What a lovely time. We've had a tycoon takeover in the first installment of the Pentagon Challenge. How much fun is this? I'm really hoping that we can bring some players in that are good enough to then take to the next club, because I love that continuity and being a bit sentimental in saves like this. So maybe Renato Sanchez is good enough to, when we move next to go and try and win the African Champions League, maybe Renato Sanchez could come and make that move to us, or maybe he's too good, to be honest. Either way, we are now an Asian Champions League team for next season, and I have a very exciting summer transfer window to go and conduct. Quickly before I go, the new board have improved the training facilities. They did improve a new coaching course, so I am studying currently. Is it for my A license? I'm studying for my national A license. My reputation is at, is it 35? 35% 2-star minimal reputation, which is very cool indeed. I don't think our rep has gone up yet as a club. No, it's still on national. But they've also said they're going to improve the training facilities again and the youth facilities again. And they didn't even debate it when I asked for the coaching course. Usually it's like, no, we can't afford it, or no, because you might want to leave us. I didn't even have to have a conversation. They just immediately said yes, which I love this man. Hu Jiang, you are my hero. I need to go and find out what my budget is going to be for this summer window and do some very fun transfers, hopefully. I'll be back to let you know how they go. So I've had quite a lot of fun over the past half an hour doing this transfer window. And now allow me to introduce you to the Champions League, Asian Champions League winners of 2027. I am feeling confident. Is it even, when does the Champions League even take place? Is the final, is it in 2028? It might be. Who knows? This, though, is a Champions League winning side, and I'll address the elephant in the room because you've probably been looking at it already. I've signed Marcus Leonardo. The FM legend, Brazilian striker Marcus Leonardo has been willing to come and join Guangzhou in the Chinese Super League, and I've given him £49,000 per week. He was on a free transfer after leaving Al Hilal, and surely this type of firepower is enough firepower to lead us to an Asian Champions League win. I'm getting to the point where if I don't win the Champions League this year, I'm going to be genuinely disappointed. He's always so good on Football Manager. This probably isn't his best. If we're going to be really critical of it, I've seen him look a lot better than this, but surely he's still too good for this league. He is what a signing he should be. And I think I've backed it up with some lovely extras as well. I've gone very Brazilian and I've spent £44 million. Now, the owners gave us 22 or so million, and I've put some into future installments because just sensible ones as well. Nothing massive. I've spent biggest on this man here, £19.5 million on Mateus França, another Football Manager legend in my eyes. He's gone to Palace in real life, hasn't he? And just not worked for him. He's been injured and it's not gone great. But there is a serious player here, and he's going to be our number 10. I've been thinking about whether to go to 4-2-4 and go all out attack and really try and do this. But I think for now we're going to use Mateus França as our number 10 with Marcus Leonardo up front. And I've spent big on this guy to get a 24-year-old. He's in his prime now, Mateus França, for the Chinese Super League. It's a big one. It's going to be a big one, isn't it? I'm going to compliment him by another Brazilian on the left wing of Wesley. Not the best photo in this particular photo pack, but a very good player nonetheless. He was at Al Nassr where he scored 27 and 88. I picked him up for about 15 million. I think it's 7.5 million now, 7.5 million in the future. He actually played a lot of games in the Saudi league and scored a lot of goals, especially in this season here. Look, 12 and 34. Very good. I'm going to use him on the left-hand side as an inside forward on attack. Great agility, great dribbling. He's 16 flair. He's just really good. He, again, the maximum wage that we can offer is £49,000 per week. So I'm obviously offering these foreign players the maximum to try and make sure that they join, and they are joining. So França, Wesley, Leonardo, those three are my Brazilian trifecta to play in the attack like this, look. Alongside them, I've also retained Renato Sanchez, of course. He is another one of our foreign players, one of our 5 starting foreign players in the starting squad. I've actually signed 6, but one's a youngster that I'm kind of, again, gambling on a little bit. Sanchez, França, Leonardo, Wesley, and then at the back, the 5th and final one in the squad is this man here, a new gen. Well, I think I've pulled off a bit of a worldie here. Abu Tiombane is what I'm going to go with as a pronunciation. A Senegalese 18-year-old. He's got under 23 caps, but he looks pretty good. He's got amazing physicals. If this pace and acceleration improves, he's 6'3" with good jumping reach, great natural fitness, 19 bravery. He's got brilliant tackling, and he's got okay passing and positioning and work rate and all the other things too. And he's only 18, so he should improve. Some of the cons aren't great, but at this level in this league, I don't think it's going to be a problem. He's on £22,000 per week. I've signed him for 170k. Looking through and just scouting and being able to scout the world because we've got the money to scout the world. I've looked in all the classic places. Generation Foot in Senegal is a great place to look for new gens that might be quite good. This Sene, probably going to be quite good as well if I went and scouted him because he's 18 and he's their key player, and he's got amazing flair, definitely. That is confirmed, even though we haven't got his attributes unmasked at this stage. I'm happy with Tiombane, very happy with Sanchez and the Brazilian 3. I think I'm going to use Bao Yu-chen, who is the now permanent striker that I've signed for 4.2 million. I think I'm going to use him on the right-hand side, potentially in the 10, and then we could use França on the right-hand side, who can kind of play that. Or maybe even Wesley and swap him over. I'm not sure if he can play there. And we could do something like... They're very interchangeable. Even Leonardo could play on the wing, actually, on the left wing here. Basically, all of them can interchange. So I'm quite excited about that. I have then also beefed out the squad with a few other signings too. If I show you those are the Chinese signings that I've made to make us better. Some of them costing a fair bit as well, actually. Tyus Browning, I brought from Shanghai Port because they're our nearest rivals. Just for one season, 2 million. He's a very good defender for this league. Actually played in England earlier in his career for Everton and then Sunderland, Preston, Wigan, then moved to Guangzhou. So we've brought him back home to Guangzhou. But he was born in Liverpool, but has 42 caps for China. So he's quite a fun one to bring in, I think. Zhang Jie I've brought in at right back. He's 18, got caps for China. Zhang Wei, another youngster that has caps for China, 11 caps, 2 goals from him. So he's going to be our first backup for the wingers, really. I reckon Zhang Wei could probably technically start ahead of Bao Yuchen on this right-hand side if we were going to go down that route, if I just put these guys back in their positions. But I think Bao Yuchen may be just about has the better potential, just going off the value really on that one. He's also got caps for China as well. You can see the vibe I'm going for. I'm going for the young players that already play for China because they're going to be quite good, aren't they? Also, just to show you, the young player that I'm investing some time in, the final foreign signing that I've made and registered, although he won't be able to be in the starting squad if all 5 of the other ones are, is Adama Kone from Mimosas, another classic team to find new gens in. He, though, is 18. I'm surprised he hasn't got Ivory Coast caps actually at this stage, but he's 18 and looking pretty good in attacking midfield, so he probably will become our attacking midfielder, you'd imagine, in time at some stage, but 500k for him. And then there's just other ones on here. I don't really need to show you. Wang Wei is a young striker that I've signed because he looks like he's going to have good potential. Maje is a defensive midfielder. He's going to be a backup for us, 18, and he's got caps for the full Chinese national team. Lin Tao is going to be our left back. He's got under 20 caps and is only 18, and he's better than the left back that we had, and he's young and he's going to develop as well. And then I've also sold a few players here, but generally you get the idea, you get the picture. We're a very good squad right now. We are even listed as the favourites to go and win the league. So I'd like to win the double, the title and also the Asian Champions League, or maybe even make it a treble, because we did actually just win the Super Cup. We've just beaten Shanghai Port in the Super Cup, as you see here. Jainan with the 75th minute goal, and then Tionbane on his debut scoring this goal to get us another trophy, which is actually quite useful for the reputation and for our CV when we're looking for new jobs. It was near post corner look. 6'3", doesn't actually have the highest jumping reach, but I'm sure he's going to still be a threat from these. He's only got 14 jumping reach. Our profile of our manager is looking pretty nice. They've even agreed for us to study for a Continental C license, so that'll be lovely. They don't even question it. We've got so much money that the board are like, yeah, sure, whatever. I've also even managed to improve our coaching staff and our scouting staff. Remember, we were in the lower division not that long ago, and now we are competitive with having the best staff, with the best teams in the top league, the Super League. Things are going quite rosily at the moment. Training facilities, 4.5 stars. Youth facilities now 2.5 stars. Youth recruitment, they actually did say no to, which seems a bit odd when you actually think about it. But things are definitely improving. Our reputation is still only 2.5 stars, but I think that's because we've not yet played in the continental competition. So when we do, I'm hoping that will go up as well. Does it go continental? I know it does if you play in the Champions League in Europe, but how does that affect things in the Asian Champions League? I'm not quite sure, but look at this as well. Our estimated value is now 108 million. Do you remember when I compared that to Shanghai Shenhua, and I think theirs was 60, and I was thinking about debating whether I should jump ship. I'm very glad I didn't right now. We've got an amazing football team. And our CV as a manager is only growing. Our attributes are improving. It's all going swimmingly. It's time to go and do the actual business on the pitch now. I'm going to go about till halfway of this season. Hopefully, we're going to go and win the title. And then hopefully, today's video ends with a Champions League glory. I think I've decided, by the way, I'm going to do 5 seasons per video. It'd be really lovely if I could do 1 continent of our Pentagon per video. It might not work out that way, and I don't want to hold myself down to that. And the videos become a bit repetitive because there's 6, 7, 8 seasons being completed in one video. They're already quite long, aren't they? Which, you know, you guys seem to enjoy, and I enjoy doing it this way. I think I'm going to do a general rule of about 5 seasons per video. That'd be really lovely if we could win the Champions League in this one, wouldn't it? Let's go and get it done. See you about halfway. Okay, so this might be slightly too easy. This is the first half of our season, and we're all but champions already. Actually, I say that. We're actually not, but we've played 15 games and won 15 games. Weirdly, the gap to second is only 6 points. So I was going to, we haven't actually won this league yet, but we've won every single game so far. Our goal difference after 15 games is 58. We are an outrageous football team. Big favourites, look, 11 to 10 odds. But Beijing Guan have actually, I think, gone 10 games. They've won 10 on the bounce themselves. They did lose twice, once to us, once to Shandong. We need to make sure we beat them in the other game to make sure we win this league, which is wild to say when we've won 15 out of 15. We'd probably be okay. Wesley on an 8.35. 20 assists from Wesley so far this season is just crazy from this left wing. I've actually just been using a 4-2-3-1 gegenpress because I was like, hang on a minute, am I breaking the game here? For the past 10 games, it's literally just a loaded in preset gegenpress 4-2-3-1. That's how good we are. It's a bit silly. If I just do a quick pick here, if I just go by best 11, if I just show you all of the stats on here, look, 21 assists, 14 goals for Marcus Leonardo so far in 17 games. You see some of the stats of the other players down here too. Mateus França has just been injured for a while. He's got 11 goals in 16 games. He'll be back soon. I've also got all of the teams on there at the moment. I had a bit of a goalkeeper situation. Shenping played a couple of games, and because he came on as a sub look in one game, because Gao Chao actually picked up an injury and was out for a few weeks. Look, he broke his hand and was out for 5 weeks. Annoyingly, Shenping then came in and got injured himself. So I was using a greyed out keeper in a few of these games, and yet we still won those games. That's how good this team is compared to the rest of this league. The league, there are the results. I mean, there's a 9-0 win. There's a 7-1 win. That's a 9-0 win. And I promise you, I was only using a 4-2-3-1 Gegenpress preset tactic as well. That's just to really show you what stage we're at here. The Champions League, the Asian Champions League, is just about to kick off. In fact, in August, it kicks off. So we've not started it again. Last year, it was won by Al Ittihad for the 4th season in a row. It kicks off with the first preliminary round at the 1st of August. And I think we come in, I don't know if we're I suppose we're probably East, aren't we? We come in on the 2nd. Does it say it on here yet? Are we a second preliminary round, or have we been bumped up past that now? Are we into the playoff? Maybe we've actually qualified, because I don't think we've got on here. We haven't actually got any fixtures on here yet. I'm a bit worried that we're actually not going to be in it. I really hope we are. No, we are. Look, the competition begins here. Look, we enter it. Well, okay, we're straight into the group stage. That's actually better than I think because we finished 4th. I thought we were going to be in a preliminary stage, but we've gone straight through to the group stage. So the 8th of September, this begins. I'm now going to go, though, because things are we're breezing through. I'm probably going to go to the end of our season domestically, and I'll then let you know how the beginning of that Champions League campaign has began, and then we'll obviously get into the meat and the bones of that Champions League, where I really hope we can go and win it. I'd like to go and win every single game. We've got one Invincible season on our record. It'd be nice to have a perfect season, something I'm sure has never been done. This is doing wonders, by the way, for our CV. We've now got a 68% win percentage over the course of our entire career. It's outrageous. It's really helping us out. We are still studying for our B license, but I'm sure with this board, as soon as we get this one, we'll probably be able to start studying for our A license straight away. And I think the A license and then the pro license, they can take up to about a year to actually complete. So we'll be getting that done nice and early in our career. And like I said, we're going for the Champions League this year, because this team is ridiculous. I'll see you at the end of our domestic season, when we're hopefully the best ever champions ever. Come on. Okay, so domestic season is complete, and we did win the league. It was actually a lot closer than it should have been, and we've not gone invincible. I've lost 2 games, and actually Beijing in second also lost 2 games, except we didn't draw any games. 28 wins out of 30, 2 losses. We lost to Beijing at 1-0 to them. We also randomly, towards the end, lost 3-0 to Shandong Taishan, who they finished 4th. They didn't look particularly good. It's a 6-point gap to second. We've won ourselves our first top division title, which is pretty good. And we've made a beginning. In fact, before I show you how we've started in the Champions League, I need to show you some of these stats on some of these players. It's been a season to end all seasons, really. Wesley, on the left wing for us, has got himself 10 goals and 31 assists. Lin Tao from left back has got 14 assists, and our right back's got 12 assists. 22 goals from Marcus Leonardo. You will see that he's unregistered at the moment. We've had a bit of a nightmare with the registration for the Asian Champions League. Marcus Leonardo has been injured, and I then didn't register him because of his injury. He's actually now back sooner than I expected, and he's not registered. Also, we were very restricted on how many players we could register. I'm really hoping that we get another registration window and you can make some changes. However, it doesn't look like that's particularly likely. I've gone to rules here. It says here the final registration that is on this list is on the 1st of September, and 8 players are allowed to be swapped. I don't know if it was glitched, because I'm not even sure that I got to do the registration for any of these other times. It was just this final one, and by then players were already registered and it was counting them as changes. I actually don't know if it was bugged and we missed out on all of these registration periods or opportunities, because it wasn't even showing on here on this screen as us being in the competition until the day before our first game, which was against Persib Bandung. We've won 2 of our games, by the way. We've lost 1. I lost to Kashima Antlers, which very much put me back in my place of I thought we were going to just waltz this, but the Kashima Antlers are a really good, strong Japanese team who pretty much put me in my place and made me think, okay, I need to take this very seriously if we're going to win this. I need to make sure we win the remaining games. It's an old-fashioned group system for the Asian Champions League. We need to make sure we win our remaining games and go through. I assume, according to this, it looks like just the top team goes through, although that is probably something I should check as well. Group stage, yeah, it is. It's just the first team in each group goes through. Top team qualifies. The best 3 teams from the rest of groups in groups A to E qualify for the second round. So it's the best 3 teams from each half of the draw, it seems to be, will also go through. So even if we came second, we'd have a good chance of going through as one of those, but that's not really a risk I want to take. So I'm going to have to take them seriously. We have a game coming up. We've got games against Pathum and Persib, and then we finish off with the home game against Kashima Antlers. I'm going to go and play these games now, as well as what will hopefully be a safe passage through to the Chinese FA Cup final again. We've got Beijing Guoan, who just finished second to us, in the semi-final, home and away, to go and play. I'm going to go play these games now, and what I hope to report back on is a nice safe passage through to the next round, and hopefully even a chance to register Marcus Leonardo, because it's also Mateus França who's not registered currently. It's all a nightmare. Oh, by the way, I've not even shown you. We got to August in our season, and I had a thought. I was like, hang on a minute. August, July, the summer is when all of the European players go out of contract, which should present me with an opportunity to get the best players that have just gone out of contract from those European teams. So I had a scout of the market and realised I could sign Pedro Goncalves from, well, he's at Al Nassr and he'd gone out of contract, and I've managed to pick him up. He's on that classic 49.5k per week, and he's come in and joined our rank. It's a little bit messy because he became our 7th registered foreign player, and I can only have 6 registered at a time. So I've had to unregister Adama Kone, but I felt like that was the best thing to do, because he's a young player who we could re-register in the future when one of the older players isn't registered anymore. And I just felt like, well, Goncalves is better. He's actually our best player. So he's made a good start too. 9 goals in 13 games. How many assists did he also get alongside that as well? With 5 assists too. 7.57. So he's been pretty good. Final update before I go and finish these games off in the Asian Champions League group stage is to tell you that we now have a Continental B license, and we are studying for our Continental A license. It's going to take a year, but we are making moves. Our attributes are definitely improving. We're looking pretty good. Our reputation is up to 60%. We're making light work of this Pentagon so far, but we need to actually go and win one of those trophies, don't we? That's the next order of the day. Let's go and finish this group stage and get to it. All right, welcome back. This is the final Champions League group stage game, and we've just beaten Kashima Antlers 3-2 to give ourselves safe passage through to the knockouts, or the second round. I'm not really sure how this competition works yet. We're learning on the go. These were the goals in this game. It was Maget, a youngster who's playing in midfield in this one. We've got a couple of injuries as well. I think it was Wesley. No, was it França or Wesley? One of the two was out injured. You'll see. Jainan, the other midfielder, both really youngsters actually starting midfield for us today, scored the second goal. They then got a goal back here with Kim Tai Hwan, and then it was another goal from them. They equalised with this one here into the second half now. But ball over the top, Akude gets in behind and smashes past the keeper. I say smashes, places past the keeper. But we got ourselves a winner from the corner. We love this route to goal, don't we? Even though it actually is on the secondary part of the move, if you like. Smashed in by Jingjuan, who we signed. I don't know if I've shown you him. Signed him relatively recently. During the mid-season break window, we signed this guy from, where did he come from? Shanghai Port for 1.4 million. He's played 8 games. He's pretty good. He's 19 and only going to get better. So he scores the winner. It means in the AFC Champions League, as I show you here, we top our group. Kashima Antlers go through in second because we've both got 15 points. We've won our other games. We were always going to go through. It wasn't like there was loads riding on it. I've just seen, by the way, Samu Omorodion. Samu is playing at Al Ittihad. There's going to be that Al Ittihad team is going to be really strong. They've won this competition for the past 4 years. Who else do they have in their team? Okay, there's not. Okay, I thought it was going to be worse. Once I saw Omorodion or Samu leading the line there, we've got some Saudi players in the midfield. Pau Torres playing defensive mid. Luke Shaw's there. What's he on? £700,000 per week. Right. He's now 33. That doesn't scare me as much as I thought it would. Musa Diaby's still there on 475,000, although they didn't play him in that game. That keeper is Bolka, the Polish keeper as well. Interesting. That's what we're up against, but I was a bit worried when I saw Samu on there. I'm less worried now that I've seen the rest of the team. I think it's going to be okay. Suppose, though, we need to go and find out who we're going to get in the next round. Other update I also need to give you is that we won the FA Cup. I actually thought this was the semi-final. I think it's because it was the Super Cup. It was also maybe because it was over 2 legs, even though we did do this 2-leg thing last year. It was actually the final, and we won it 5-4 on aggregate. Won the first leg 2-1, drew the second leg, courtesy of this 94th minute goal from Bao Yushen. He's the one that we had on loan and then signed permanently. He's actually scored a few goals this year. 8 goals in 20 appearances, 16 in 25 in all comps. Scores us the goal that clinches us another trophy. We get ourselves another award based on that as well. We were the FA Cup best manager as well as FA Cup winners. Look at this for a season. We've got 3 manager of the months and manager of the year, and then 3 competition wins on there too. I'm really hoping we make it 4 competition wins because we are going through in the AFC Champions League. I'm going to go and press continue now to find out who we're going to play in that second round. We've got Ulsan HD. They're a South Korean team, aren't they? They are indeed. Not valued as much as we are. And their reputation is about the same as... Has our reputation gone up, by the way? No, it's actually better than ours. I feel relatively confident against these. A lot of new gens in there. Kim Seong-in is their striker. Who's their key player? Key player is Park Seong-hoon, who actually looks like... Obviously, we've got attribute masking on, but he looks like he might be quite good. He's got 18 caps for South Korea. I'm not too worried about that. I feel okay about the prospect of beating them. Why is that not on it? Is it apparently... Oh, it's not till February. We've now got a massive gap. That takes place, the second round, first and second leg, take place in February. Let me check. On the rules now, does it give me the chance to register more players? It doesn't say it on here. I guess we just got to watch out for it. But technically, we've got a transfer window opening then as well. So you'd really think they'd give you a chance to register new players. I guess we'll go and find out. I'm going to go and get ourselves up to those games, play those games, and I'll be back to let you know how they go. All right, then, so we've safely made it through in the Champions League. As you maybe would expect, I was definitely expecting to. We won the away leg 2-0 against Ulsan. It was Wesley and Abu Tiombane who scored the goals. Luckily as well, we did get a new registration period. So Marcus Leonardo and all of the other players, Mateus França, are all now registered for the Asian Champions League. I honestly feel like there were no restrictions on how many foreign players you could register. So I think that might have bugged or glitched or something, and it didn't allow me to before, but it's no worries because it's fixed now and we've already gone through anyway. The only rules that I've come across is that you're only allowed 5 in the matchday squad, so I can register everyone. Then if there are injuries, you know, work it that way. We won 2-0 in the away leg, drew the second leg 1-1, but we were already through. Wesley scored in both legs. We have drawn, now this is quite interesting, we've drawn another South Korean team in the quarterfinal, FC Seoul. If I go to the Korean League, they've won the league for the previous 3 seasons. If I go to last season's table, they won it, and it was Ulsan in second, so it will be a slight step up in quality. The other bit of news, if we can get through and past them, the semi-final draw has also been made. We would play Beijing Guoan from our league or Yokohama Marinos from Japan. So, I mean, if they can get past, if we get a semi-final game against Beijing Guoan, I know that we can beat them because we've just beaten them to the league title here. And I think we beat them once in the league and then lost them in the other game. But I think if it came to the crunch, we'd be able to beat them in a semi-final of a Champions League. So quite looking forward to that potentially. I'm going to go and play the quarterfinals now and I'll be back. Right, so we are through. We have just won on away goals against FC Seoul. Now, we were missing a few players, which is why I think this has happened. We won the first leg comfortably. We lost the second leg 4-2, but apparently away goals are still a thing in this competition. We actually dominated. If you have a look at the stats, let me just bring it up here. Look, 26 shots from us, 11 on target, but they were quite clinical. They took the lead there from Lucas Silva. After that, we got ourselves level again. I think the first leg, if it was 5-5, we won the first leg 3-1. So we were fairly confident about going through in this game. They made a real game of it. So these 2 away goals we scored in this game. Sorry, I'm just trying to get myself caught up on exactly how it all worked. These 2 away goals in this game were better than their 1 away goal, and we go through on away goals. Trying to think back to how away goals work, because I think I kind of miss away goals, you know, in the Champions League. Anyway, here are their goals. They scored 3 in quick succession in the second leg, and it was this goal on 82 minutes. Zhang Wei down the right-hand side, Zhang Zhu into Pedro Goncalves on his right foot as well, showing why it was a good decision to sign him. He scores what turned out to be the winner and we're through to a semi-final, and it won't be Beijing Guan because they lost quite comprehensively to Yokohama Marinos. Now, weirdly and annoyingly, we actually start our next season before we play Yokohama Marinos in the semi-final of the Champions League. So we've got a Super Cup, then we start the season against Beijing Guan. It's not ideal, is it? Two really rough games there against a really good team. And then we play Marinos at home. We've got the home leg first, and then we have to go away to them. Is that worse? It probably is, isn't it? But I kind of like the idea of getting a good first leg, solid result under our belt. Renato Sanchez is suspended for that one. I'm really hoping that the injury that I've just suffered... Oh, he is out injured. Oh, no. 3 to 6 weeks for our main left back, Lin Tao, as well. That's bad news. Is Tiombane back? 9 days to 2 weeks. We play our first game in... Okay, we've got about a month. They might both be back, actually. I'm going to go and get ourselves started, and I'm going to go and play this semi-final, I think, and I'll be back hopefully when we've got ourselves a place in the Champions League final. We might go out, but I'm a bit worried about it. I'll see you then. All right, well, that was actually relatively straightforward. We have knocked out Yokohama F. Marinos 4 goals to 1 on aggregate. We won the second leg 3-1. I'll show you the goals after winning the first leg 1-0 at home. We were actually completely dominant. You see the stats there. Look, this is the team that we played. It was Leonardo leading the line. Wesley Goncalves Zhang Wei. Big news. This yellow card in the 87th minute is going to rule Wesley out of the final. He's suspended, which is actually terrible news because he's been such a creative force for us this season. I'll show you the goals in this game. Well, they actually took the lead to level the tie-up in the 17th minute. This was their goal. But then we ran rampant and fully deserved to go through in the end. It was actually a lovely finish from Sabre. Here are our goals. We bounced back immediately right before half-time. We made it 3-1 on the night and 4-1 on aggregate. Leonardo with a tap-in. Goncalves with the assist. Zhang Jia down the right-hand side, just rampaging down the right-hand side. I think I've said that word twice in this game. There's Wesley scoring a thunderous volley. This was onside. He is going to be a big miss for this final. Here's the third goal. Leonardo on the volley as well. We've got great players. It's not a surprise that we've got ourselves to the final, honestly, because we nearly completed a perfect season. We're a really, really good football team. But now we come up against Al Ittihad. I'm going to just go to their game and see who they played in this game. Who was in their team? Samu Omarodion, DRB, Pau Torres. There's no Luke Shaw there. Maybe he's injured. That would kind of make sense, wouldn't it? That doesn't terrify me, but they have won this competition 4 times in a row. And now they're in the final again. The final will take place over 2 legs, which is, again, news to me, in May. The 6th of May is the first leg. In the meantime, we've got some league games to go and play. By the way, we lost our first game of the season against Beijing Guan because I rested players. I also rested players against Shuzhou Dongwu because we had this game coming up. We have to play an FA Super Cup game in between the 2 legs against Al Ittihad. So I'll be resting players in this game against Longmen and then also resting game in that cup game as well, I would imagine. It all comes down to this. We'll, of course, do it as a live com. I'll see you for the first leg of the Champions League final here in Asia. This is the moment. Come on. Okay, then. This is it. The Asian Champions League final. Finally. This is actually the first leg as well because it's a 2-legged affair because, of course, it is. To give you a sneak preview behind the curtain right now, the time is currently 10 minutes to 9 in the evening, and I've been playing this since about 9 a.m. It's been such a slog, but I'm really hoping it's going to be worth it. It might just be worth it if we win this cup final, if we win this Asian Champions League and get ourselves off the mark for this Pentagon. Right, I'm going to do a quick pick because I think that is probably the best way to go. We've got a few players injured. Lin Tao is just back from injury and is a little bit tired. I'm kind of wondering if I should risk him. I'm going to risk Lin Tao at left back because I think he's better. Otherwise, the team is as follows. It is Jin Tao in goal, the sub-goalkeeper, because, shall I risk that as well? I'm going to risk Gao Chao because he's better. We're going to go with him. It's going to be Wang Wei, Tiombane's back, Jingjuan Lin Tao, Zhao Nan, Renato Sanchez, Bao Yu Chen, Bao Yu Chen's going to play, Francis Goncalves, and then Marcus Leonardo up front. Let's just get into it. It's the first leg. It's away at Al Ittihad. They are ridiculously good, although I was looking for Samu Omarodion. He's not playing. They've got no Samu, which maybe means we've got a slight chance here. A slight chance of maybe just getting a result. If we get a draw, it'd be so good in this first leg. Away goals as well, they do count, don't they? We are underway in my first ever Asian Champions League final and the first Continental Club Cup final of this Pentagon save. Can we go and do the business? Can we get at least a draw in this away leg? As we're on the attack early here. Wang Wei down the right-hand side. Chance! Marcus Leonardo scored in the first minute. I think that flag's down. I think we're about to take the lead inside the first minute of this Asian Champions League final. Surely that's onside. It is on. Oh my word. 27 seconds I'm pretty sure that was when this ball crosses the line. Pedro Gonçalves. It's a really slow pass to Wang Wei. Leonardo stays onside. It goes in on 25 seconds. It's taken 25 seconds for us to have the lead in the Champions League final against Al Ittihad, who don't have Samuel Omarodion. He's on the bench, so he must be maybe just tired. I'm not even sure, or maybe carrying a slight injury, as our keeper is, who just makes a worldy save there. Okay, this has been a quite hectic first minute and a half here. They've got a set piece. They do have threats as well. Gabriel is always going to be a threat from these. Okay, take your time. Just breathe. We have given ourselves the best and most perfect possible start to this Champions League final. We've let them have a few shots. They've had 6 shots since our goal. That one shot we've had is the only shot on goal of the game so far for us. We have another highlight here, though. Wang Wei, França. A second goal, we'd be in dreamland. Just because the chance of then at least... It'd be 2 away goals, for Christ's sake. And that's a weird pass. Ling Tao, who we've played in this game despite being slightly... We've scored. It's a great assist. Pedro Gonçalves has made it 2-0. Lin Tao has got the assist, and I've risked him because he's a little... Well, he's actually very tired. We are going to have to sub him. We're 2-0 up inside 20 minutes. That is such a weird pass. But Lin Tao gets it, and then Pedro Gonçalves is there to pop the ball in the back of the net. 2-0. And we're in dreamland. I'll tell you for why. Not because I think we're going to win this game easily now. Although, here we go. Over the top from Pedro Gonçalves. Even if Al Ittihad come back into this, we're looking at a situation where, at worst, you'd think we'd draw the game. At very worst, we'd lose by the odd goal. And that gives us a chance in this second leg. They're going to be dangerous, though. They've got good players. That's going to be a penalty. The referee's given a pen. I said they're going to be dangerous. Half an hour in, they could reduce the deficit here. And then you'd probably expect them to bring on Samu in the second half and things like that. Here is a chance for our keeper to become a hero. Our slightly injured goalkeeper. He has saved it. I thought it'd gone through him. He saved it. That's why you play your best goalkeeper, even if they're slightly injured. He saved the pen. He's on an 8.1. What a game so far from us. Everything seems to be going our way after half an hour. Now I'm just scared about how this is going to go badly wrong. Al Ittihad still on the attack here. It's going to be cleared. It's kind of cleared. Not really cleared. Diaby, if he gets a shot. Oh, good save, keeper. 8.1, Gao Chao. All hail Gao Chao. That's what you can put in the chat if you've got this far into the video. 8.5 now. Maybe it's a bit preemptive because we do have a second leg to go and play here. Wang Wei wins it back. Bao Yuchen has got it. Can I tell them to waste time? It feels a bit early for that. Wang Wei, Zhao Nan. This will surely be the end of this highlight. Or it might even get better. Mateus França, Wang Wei. We do have players in the box here. We've gone all the way back. Oh my word, what a weird shot. I think he toe poked it and the keeper saved it. That was bizarre. It nearly did go in though. Half an hour on the clock. And we've got ourselves a corner. Oh my word, we've scored from it as well. I was going to say, is this just the end of the highlight? We're 3-0 up away from home against Al Ittihad. Maybe I was just massively over-egging how good Al Ittihad are. Because actually, we're actually doing this quite comfortably now at this stage. Even if they had Samuel Omarodion up front, if you actually look at the team, Diaby, Torres, Gabriel are the only non-Saudi players in their team. So actually, maybe they're just not that good. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but we've sort of dominated. We haven't really. We've just taken our chances against them. And our keeper has pulled off a worldie so far on an 8.6. França for 4. It's 4-0. What was I worried about? What was I actually worried about? Inside the first half, we're 4-0 up. We're going to win. We're going to do it. I'm saying it out loud. We're going to go and win the Asian Champions League. And actually, we're going to do it at a bit of a canter. It's a glorious time. It could get even better before half time. It's headed away. França. We've got Mateus França. We're a really good football team. I don't know. I wonder where they had that Polish goalkeeper, didn't they? I wonder where he is and why he's not playing in this game. Similar to why I wonder why Samuel Omarodion's not playing. But I suppose that it can just happen to any player. Maybe he's picked up a knock, you'd imagine. I imagine he's picked up a knock. Here's França. We've got the ball back on a counter-attack here. We do have men forward. Sanchez, Bao Yu-chen. It comes to França. It's 5-0. We're 5-0 up. We're 5-0 up. And I think this one, it might be game over. I actually might tell them to go and waste time, you know. It could just be game over. Sanchez finds Bao Yu-chen. He gets tackled, but França scores. That is second. Second here. It was, I mean, we scored after a minute and we've gone on to score 5 in this first half and they've missed a penalty. 8.8 from the goalkeeper is just wild, isn't it? Half time. I mean, just go and do it again in the second half, lads. We're about to complete the first leg of our Pentagon challenge, even though there's a whole game to play after this and the second half of this game still to go. That's how confident I'm feeling. França could get us a 6 here. Goncalves. França again, good save, goalkeeper. Keeper tips it over. 47 minutes on the clock. I'm actually going to do it, I think. I'm going to tell them to waste time and just be a little bit more disciplined, just because letting them back into the game seems really foolish right now. That's actually quite a good save from their keeper. I actually wonder if their keeper's playing all right. No, he's on a 6.3. I was going to say, I think he's made a few saves. Look, we've got a 2.7 XG and scored 5. But that's actually quite a high XG even in itself, isn't it? I'll tell you what I need to do. I've just thought of it. Lin Tao needs to come off. Q Lin. Do you know what? We're not going to do Q Lin. We're going to do Zhang Jia on and change that left back because he's very tired. Al Ittihad are on the attack here. Lin Tao's got it back. The changes haven't gone through yet. I'd like to get him off the pitch before he gets injured. I'm thinking about subbing the keeper as well because he is half injured. He's on a 9 though. Leonardo down the right-hand side. Cross. Sanchez headed away. There might be a break on here. Al Balawi is the man leading the line for Al Ittihad. He's all on his own though. Al Sarawi has kept up with him now. It's Al Shibani. Here's Pau Torres. They are just, there's Diab. I was going to say, they are just lacking quality in the attack, it feels, although they have scored a goal. Hassan Al Shibani has made it 5-1. This is why I want you to waste time, because I just don't want it to go 5-2 and then potentially 5-3, because then you do get a bit worried, don't you? And they've actually had 14 shots. It's been quite, they've actually almost had the same XG as us. Maybe when I was saying they're rubbish, maybe they've just been very unlucky in this game. They can get another goal, and they've still got Samu to come on from the bench. In fact, have they? Is that him? No, it's not. He's not the number 35, is he? No, it's Al Balawi there. I thought they might have brought him on, but they haven't yet. Half an hour to play. Corner to them. Gabriel over. How can I see this game out even better? Jainao Nan is on a yellow, and he plays in defensive midfield. I'm going to take him off, just not to risk him. Majé is going to come on. 25 to play. It's actually very even on the stats, but we've got a 5-1 lead. They might even, if they have a couple more chances. There you go. The XG's gone pretty much even. They've got a higher XG than us, and we've scored 5. This is just one of those games where actually the Football Manager gods have kind of shined on us nicely. It could go 5-2 here. Diaby, put it wide, Al Balawi. Actually, it was a good bit of defending. Sanchez got the final touch. It's a corner. 15 or so to play. Diaby swings it in. Good diving header away from Jing Zhuan. He's going to let it go for a throw-in, which seems like a bizarre choice. Just over 5 or just under 15 to play. Can I do anything here to see this game out? What a weird game of football. I'm going to take... Who's most tired? Bao Yu-chen is. Wang Wei can come on. Let's do it like... Do you know what? Wang Wei's going to play on the right-hand side. I think that's okay. 10 to play. They've got a 3.37 XG and scored 1. We've got a 3.21 XG and scored 5. We're going to take a 5-1 lead into the second leg. Cleared away. Oh, he's giving it away there. There's actually a chance for a break here. Al Sahawi, sorry, with players in the box to find. Headed away. We should clear it from this point. Maybe. Yeah, we should. We've got the ball back now with Zhang Jia. Okay. Thought they were going to get a second goal there. Maybe they're throwing men forward. It seems like it. France is in behind here. That's going to be a goal. Pedro Goncalves has made it 6. I think they've started to throw men forward, and it's left them very open at the back. With 4 to play, we've made it 6-1. This is a ridiculous game of football. That's going to add a lot to the XG, by the way. 23 shots to us, 21 shots to them. It's just all attacking. We're going to get ourselves the win. We're going to take a 6-1 lead to the second leg. That is outrageous. I'm going to go and get ourselves up to that second leg, but surely the damage is now done. We're going to go and win us. We've actually got a couple of games in between, haven't we? Surely we're going to go, oh, look, Jainan's out. He's suspended. We're surely going to get ourselves our first trophy of this Pentagon challenge. Surely. I see you for the second leg. Oh, my word. Okay, then. This is it. Second leg. We are ready to go. This is the team that I'm going to pick. Gao Chao continues in goal. He's shook off that injury. I didn't risk him in the last game. By the way, I did do a full rotation for the last game, and we actually won 6-1 again. It was Huang Zhengyu who got 4 goals from him, our centre-back. So maybe I should play him, but he's actually a bit rubbish. So I'm not going to. Wang Wei is going to go at right back. Lin Tao at left back. Jingjuan and Tianbane as centre-backs. Ma Zhe comes in for the suspended Jainan, who's also picked up an injury as well now, so he wouldn't be able to play anyway. And then Renato Sanchez alongside him. Zhang Wei's back from injury. Wesley is back from his suspension. He starts on the left-hand side, which means I've had to leave out França because I can only have a certain number of foreign players in the team. That's the team, though. I'm expecting Al Ittihad to go for it in the second leg, but surely with a 6-1 lead, I didn't check actually. Did Omarodian get into the team there? I'm expecting with a 6-1 lead that we should be okay. I'm very, very relaxed with a 6-1 lead. I just want to see this Al Ittihad team. Omarodian does make it. Diaby's back in. There's still 3 Saudi players in the midfield. Torres does start, and I think it was Gabriel at the back as well. So no Luke Shaw still. Did he make the... I don't even know if he's at the club anymore. Maybe he's not, because it has been a while since that draw was made and we had a look at the team. Here we go, though. First 6 minutes. I'm hoping for a non-affair, in all honesty. I'm hoping for us just to see nothing really happen and we win this game. First highlight of the game, we do have the ball, which is quite nice. I mean, a goal for us and it's done, isn't it? Lin Tao into the box. He got the assist in that first game. Good save, Al Zubaydi. 10 minutes played. Do I tell them to waste time already? Is that ridiculous? We've got a 6-1 lead. Surely we just take it easy and win this. I'm actually going to do it. I'm not taking any chances. Sometimes waste time. 10 minutes in. Is that a crime? I feel like that should be illegal, but I'm going to do it anyway. 15 minutes. It's the first highlight for Al Ittihad potentially here. Although I thought we were going to nick it there. No. Gabriel, we have nicked it. Pedro Gonçalves is in behind. That's awful defending from that man there. He's giving it Leonardo. It's 1-0 on the night and 7-1 on aggregate. This may, again, are Al Ittihad actually good or not? I have no idea, because Gabriel is the man that's given that away. He just dawdles on the ball, lets Gonçalves get there. The defending from the centre-back, he runs out of position. Leonardo scores 7-1 on aggregate. Just see the game out, lads. I don't even need more goals. I don't need that to go in. We don't need to score that goal that you've just scored there, Abu Tianbane. It's 2-0. It's 8-1 on aggregate. I think you can start putting the red ribbons on the trophy, lads. You might even just want to start engraving it, because they're not coming back from here, are they? This might go in as well. This is a good chance for Gonçalves. Okay, he's pretty good at them. He's hit the bar, I think it was. We're going to get a throw in from it instead. 25 minutes on the clock. Just 8-1 on aggregate. Just 8-1. It's fine. All right, that's half time. Actually, nothing else happened just there in that half. We've been completely dominant. Al Ittihad, I think that early goal, and then, of course, the second one straight after, has taken all of the wind out of their sails. They've offered nothing in this game. 0 shot, 0 on target. The home advantage for us seems like it's working quite nicely. We can just breeze through this. We do start the second half with a highlight. It's us on the ball as well. Diaby, he's on a yellow. You wonder if they might start to get a little bit frustrated and start to kick out. I just wonder if we'll see Diaby red card, basically, looking at that. That's a good effort from Wesley. Over the top, though. 46 minutes. Do I go to even more time wasting and be disciplined? Because we don't need to score a goal. In fact, we just need to keep it like this. I'm tempted to go and put another defender in. There's half an hour to go, just about, as we approach the 60-minute mark, and we're just waiting for the trophy presentation, aren't we? Attack building up here for Al Ittihad. We've given it away. It is going to be a highlight for us. Wesley tipped over by Al Zubaydi. Nearly a third goal on the night. This is just it's surely a party atmosphere in this stadium at the moment as we make it through. Now they're partying. Look at the fans celebrating. It's another goal from a corner. Tianbane heads in 3-0 and the fans want 10. in this cup final here. It's a good header, actually. A nice corner. They didn't even seem to mark him, to be honest. 9-1 on aggregate. And it's 9-1 on aggregate. This is getting a bit silly, isn't it? Ball over the top. Samu's in to get a goal back. He's had it saved. Guy Chow, who got himself that man of the match award in the first leg, just wanted to get himself involved in the game a little bit by making a save from Samu in that. And he's made another save. I thought that was in. That we completely left that man unmarked, but he's headed it straight at the goalkeeper, who makes another save. Only on a 6.9. That's a bit disappointing. I'm a bit sad as well, disappointed that the highlights keep coming. I just wanted to waste time, lads. I don't need you to see. Stop trying to score goals. Just keep the ball at the back. Leonardo, stop scoring goals. It's embarrassing. We don't need to rub it in like this. It's 10-1 on aggregate. There is a VAR check, but I think this one's going to count. Goal awarded. 4-0, 10-1 on aggregate. After being a slog and after being actually tricky to win things we only won the league for the first time this year in China. It has been difficult, but as soon as we got that Tycoon takeover, it's become quite easy after that point, hasn't it? Wesley's made it 5-0 now. Al Ittihad aren't that good, and we've got players of real quality. Wesley, Goncalves, Leonardo, Renato Sanchez even are just top quality footballers, and it's made all the difference here. Like, look at the performances from some of these Al Ittihad players. 6.2 from Samu, 6.0 from Musa Diaby. I've not made subs. Is there anyone on our bench that we want to bring on for the trophy presentation? Not really, no. I think we're going to keep it the same. I'm happy for our captain. Who is our captain, actually? Oh, no, that's not good news. The keeper's going to have to go off injured. He's been brilliant as well. We'll get Jian Tao. Do you know what? There was a part of me then that was debating whether we should bring on an outfield player in goal, but I'm not gonna take the mick. We're gonna do things properly. We're gonna get ourselves the trophy lift now, as we have won the Asian Champions League and we have completed one part of our Pentagon challenge. It took a long time, but in the end it became quite easy. An 11-1 aggregate victory is just outrageous, really, isn't it? Let's see the lads lift the trophy then as we begin our journey properly. The first milestone has been achieved. 4 more trophies to go and win. And I suppose, actually, to cut that short, I suppose that means our job here at Guangzhou, well, I suppose it's sort of done. I'll see you next time where we start with a new club in a new continent for part 2 of our Pentagon challenge. Thank you for watching all the way to the end today. I appreciate you guys. Subscribe to the channel. See you for the next part.